It's February 3rd, 2025. I am at Joel Pearl or at thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. It's still a mouthful, but we do it anyway. It's time to get in the weeds. A marvelous Monday to everyone here in Canada. Is it snowing? It was snowing yesterday here in Toronto, but no, not today. It's Monday. It is time for our monthly Monday Fightful main channel takeover. Jeremy Lambert is here. We have plenty to talk about because we're coming off the Royal Rumble. The road to WrestleMania begins. It's now time to ramp up the conversation because we're not just doing this 3 days a week anymore either, but we'll get to that in a second.
Well, you are still doing it 3 days a week. I mean, don't give yourself credit here running from the grind still. Me, on the other hand.
Listen, like I said, if the show hits it big and we make tons of money from it, then guess what? I'll come right back and kick SP3 out Tuesdays and Thursdays. We welcome SP3 to the show on Tuesdays and Thursdays moving forward. Yes, the show is now 5 days a week. Said I'd talk about in a few minutes, but here we are. We are now a Monday to Friday show. Jeremy will be holding it down all 5 days. I'll be here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays as per usual, and SP3 will join the ticket on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So get ready for that. That's on our sister channel. That's on Fightful Overbooked. That's where this show would normally air. But at the top of every month, the first Monday of every month, we come here, we take over, and we have our brand of nonsense. We're a morning show. It's 10 a.m. Eastern where I am and where Jeremy is. So we have a little fun. We talk about wrestling. We do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And maybe sometimes Jeremy says some stuff. Yeah, we do this, we do that. I'm glad you got the reference. Jeremy, you're here. How you doing?
In honor of Main Channel Monday,
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
Little Main Channel Mana. Damn, that's good shit.
Jeremy, I'm starting to get worried about you, buddy.
Really?
Yeah, this used to be like a Friday, the end of the show bit that we did.
I gotta finish this thing. That's what's left of it. I've had this for 2 months now. So clearly I don't drink it. Literally the only time I've ever drinking this is during the show. That's it.
That's true.
So everyone has seen me take every single sip out of this bottle. I'm a super cut. The progression of me drinking this Mana. That's my next project to work on.
Don't forget about
you can be worried about me, Joel.
I am. Just don't forget about the holiday stream because that's where you consumed quite a lot of it.
Yeah, that one you had actual concern to worry about me. This taking one shot a show, I'd be okay. It's not going to be as bad, or it might be worse. I don't know.
The problem is. Sorry, not the problem.
You didn't let me finish my statement. Go ahead.
You don't need to. It's okay.
Go ahead.
My concern is less the how much, it's the when. We're pushing it earlier, Jeremy. It used to be a Friday.
10 before?
Yeah, but only lately has it become a 10 a.m. thing. It used to be an 11:30, 12 thing. It's lately it's become an earlier on the weekday thing. No longer
Is this an intervention.
I don't have enough people, so no, it's not. A lot of people just don't have the time at this hour to come and join us for an intervention. It just kind
Joel, in the words of my late father, it is 5 o'clock somewhere.
It is. I mean, I'm trying to think of where in the world it is 5 o'clock right now.
It's got to be 5 in Australia or something, right?
I don't think so. Let's take a look. World clock. This is what we do on the show, by the way. If you haven't already, leave a thumbs up. This is pretty much nothing. Leave a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to us here at Fightful and also on Fightful Overbooked, our other station, as the fireworks go off. You can donate a super chat any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. And today, just because I like you all, Humper Chats are open. Humperchats.com. You can leave anything there. And in Helsinki, in Finland, it is 5:08 p.m. In Beirut, it is 5 o'clock. Where else is it 5 o'clock? There was one more. It's 5 p.m. in Khartoum.
See?
And Cape Town. Really? Cape Town? I guess that makes sense. There you go. In Auckland, New Zealand, it's 4:09 a.m. So if you're drinking that early, well, hope you had a good night.
The cops are coming after you, Joel.
You can hear that, eh? I was hoping you wouldn't, but you can.
I can hear it.
Well,
So-
that's just what happens.
So anyway, as I was saying, the issue is going to be next week, which I will not be doing this at 10 a.m., but I will be doing it at noon. I think I'm gonna do a shoey on Thursday's show. Can't do it on Friday's show. The 12 kids have the day off of school for some reason. I don't know why, but and it's Valentine's Day. I'd prefer not to be down a beer. It'd be before I potentially go have lunch with the lovely wife. So, but Thursday's show, I think, in honor of Grand Slam Australia, where you still don't know where you can watch and how to watch that show, I think I'm gonna do a shoey.
My God, yeah. What are you gonna drink out of it?
I don't know yet. I don't even know what shoe I'm gonna use. Like, we got a bunch of them, but I don't want to like ruin. That ruins a shoe, doesn't it?
Well, if you really want to get in on the bit, you get the littlest kids.
Fosters?
That's it. You get the littlest kids shoe, and that way you can get away with making it. You know.
No. I'm a man. I'm almost 40. Nah.
The
Not
fact
doing
that you
that.
said you're almost 40, that's gotta hurt a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. Age is. I'm not worried about age.
That's fair. You think Drake is afraid of all those people at the Grammys shouting "A minor"?
They stomped on that man's grave even further. It ruled.
I go back to our short that was cut and put on overbooked. There ain't no way they're gonna ask him to show up at Elimination Chamber.
I'm not gonna ask him. I told you, but if he says I will go, then they're not gonna deny him.
Fair. I still think they'll be having the weekend there. He'll be. For those who don't know, if you're not in on the lore, if they've got WWE, everyone shows up for WWE shows now, right? You can't throw a stone without hitting a celebrity in the front row or two, and they'll tell you that they're there, and they'll give
Don't
you
do that.
don't throw the stone. But the point is it's there, and you find them there. And I'm thinking to myself, well, they're in Toronto for Elimination Chamber. Who the hell are they going to pull out? Because Toronto doesn't exactly host that many superstars of entertainment and music. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be Brent Butt from Corner Gas, Alanis Morissette's going to come in, and like the Bare Naked Ladies. Those are the only, and Bare Naked Ladies are the only ones who still live in Toronto. Choclair is probably going to come because he's a huge WWE fan. I know, right? We talked about Choclair after the Survivor Series because he went to Vancouver. He's got that one song that you like too, and you listen to it called Let's Ride. That's from the 90s. Dude's going to come to Elimination Chamber. People are going to be like, oh, yeah, I remember you. And then they're just going to turn around and go back to watching the show. I don't know who's going to go. It doesn't make sense. Maybe a couple of Blue Jays players because they'll
Dude,
be.
they pulled out John Mellencamp.
Does he
on
know he was at
Saturday.
that show?
They'll pull out anybody. They don't care. John Mellencamp's not a. Where was Rumble Indie? He's not an indie relative, is he?
I don't know. Actually, let's find out because
I got it. John Mellencamp is. Oh, he is. He's from Seymour, Indiana, or Seymour. I don't know, but he is from Indiana apparently. So there you go.
he looked like he had no idea where he was.
They'll pull anybody out. They don't care. If they dragged John Mellencamp out there, they will drag anybody out there.
It was wild. They were so excited for him. Can't wait for NXT's in your little pink house. Shout out to Grace. That was a great joke. For those who don't know, John Mellencamp has a song. Anyway, it's such a.
I feel like he has a lot of songs.
He does have a lot of songs, but there is little pink houses for you. Ain't That America? Land of the Free. Well, unless you look at the Dow Jones this morning. So we got a lot to talk about. We got the Rumble. We got a more important Rumble than the Royal Rumble. Jeremy, the ITW Rumble happened. It came and went, and we have some winners from the ITW Rumble. Should we get to the winners right now?
So Jey Uso is number 20. Is that correct?
Allegedly, he is number 20. The first, I think he's the first to win from number 20 as well.
Can we get facts on this show? We need to come at facts, not fabrication.
Jey Uso is the first person to win from the number 20 spot in Royal Rumble history, men's and women's.
So number 20 was Jules. So Jules, I've seen Jules in the chat already. So Jules, DM me, let me know what you would like off of one of the shops, and we'll get that on order. We'll set that all up. And Charlotte Flair was 27, right? Is that correct?
You bet. The infamous 27.
Okay, so let's be Eric. Be Eric, if you're here, if you're listening on demand, you can DM me. My DMs are open on the Twitters, and we'll get everything set up for you. So those are our 2 winners from the ITW Rumble. We appreciate everybody joining last week. Everybody got in with a super chat, so we really appreciate that. And hopefully you had a little extra excitement watching it when your number came out. I imagine a lot of people, whenever John Cena came out, were excited for that number. And then when he was in that final 2, they're probably pretty excited. And much like me, I was stunned when Jey Uso won that damn thing.
Yeah, that was something else. Well, we got to? B Eric won the 27 spot. Yeah. I see Jules is in the chat. Congratulations to you, B Eric. If you're hanging around, congratulations. Get in touch with Jeremy. Get into your winnings. You deserve it. What is it? What was the prize again? It was a $40 anything from any wrestling gimmick ever, or you can donate if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's get into it. I mean, the big story from Saturday night was Jey Uso. What the heck happened? Oh, you know what? Forget it. We're going to take this right away. Jules Max sending a super chat. Thank you. I would kindly ask that you donate whatever you would have spent on my prize to the American Heart Association. Thank you. It's very kind, Jules. We're going to do that. 100%.
Yes, I will do that. I'll send in the donation, $40 to the American Heart Association. Appreciate you, Jules.
Absolutely. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you got to play with us on this little game that we do. So thank you for that. Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble to the shock of many.
Yay!
And John Cena gets back in the ring.
Yay!
And basically told him
Yay!
that he deserves it.
Yay!
And that
Yay!
they're in love with him.
Yay!
All right.
Is that everything?
I think that's it. Jey Uso was on a nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ochocinco, Chad Ochocinco, and he was talking about what John Cena said to him after John Cena came back in the ring, and after Jey joked that he's gonna have to do it again. He basically said, John said, like, hey, I was there for your first tour. I remember it. You and your brother have something. Look at the people now. They love you. They're doing the thing. They're doing the yeet. And he called John Cena the GOAT. And I think there's a lot of merit in that. John Cena doesn't win. Jey Uso does. A lot of people have their feelings about it. Other than shock, once that wore off, what was your first thought?
Cool.
Neat. Just neat. And now I have to write the story.
Yay!
That was my first thought. Yeet. That was my first thought. Good for Jey, man. Like, I'm not going to get up in arms over this. He's super popular. I've been banging the Jey Uso drum for months now. I thought I should have beat Gunther at Saturday night's main event. He is super popular. And then put on a 5-star match, but I don't care about 5-star matches. The crowd goes crazy for him. Perfectly fine as a wrestler. And he's over. He's arguably Punk, Roman, Cody, anybody else? He's on that same tier as like Seth and all of these guys. To me, gets the biggest reactions, got a big crowd chant. He is super over. So if you're mad about it online, all right, fine. Be mad. They ain't booking for us dorks. They're booking for the 60,000 in that stadium that was going like this. They're booking for the 20,000 every arena that goes like this. And it works.
And if you looked at this from a fan in the audience perspective week to week, you would have seen the little hints. They weren't just sending him out there to do nothing. Like the promos were whatever, but they were sending them out there with the guests. And normally those guests were pretty, well-known rappers, hip hop stars, whatever. Like they were well-known entertainers. And he was coming out there and doing the yeet, and you have Michael Cole and Pat McAfee going absolutely ape shit, doing the sign. Like they were building that response, and they're getting it. They got it. Jeremy just said, 60, 70,000 people doing the thing, 20,000 people doing it at the arenas. Like it's
yeeting. It's called
yeeting. They're yeeting. Yes. Sometimes you just yeet all over yourself, as Pat McAfee has told us. The fact is, like he's over. We talked about this even on Friday's show when we're going after ideas, and we said, well, what about Jey Uso? And I said, I started by saying like he's not over, and then I realized no, he's over. He's over. His daddy could complain all he wanted about him not having all the titles, but like I said it on Friday, his daddy was shoving ass in people's faces and doing dances, and that's what got him over. Big Keish got over because he danced and put his ass in people's faces. Jey Uso was not as big as his daddy, so he's got to do something else, and that's what he does. He yeets, and he goes into the crowd, and he's got them by their hands, and he's doing the thing. So it works. It was shocking. I think the shock is really you expect the Rumble winner to be quote unquote credible, especially in a year when you had Roman Reigns, you had Seth Rollins, you had CM Punk, you had Drew McIntyre, you had John Cena, you had so many, even to a lesser extent Logan Paul, but Logan Paul still has history with some of those people I just mentioned, so I'll lump them in. I don't care about them, but here we are. It was strange to see Jey win, but in some ways it's kind of refreshing. Feel how you will about his matches, I don't care. He's got the support of the crowd. And if you're building to that quote WrestleMania moment, you got one. Is it going to be the main event of one of the nights of WrestleMania? Well, that depends on the story that they tell. It does. I agree with you. It very much could be, but it really depends on which story takes off, because we don't know. This has happened before where like they had one plan, it changed to another, and that changes back and forth until they finally make the decision. This is what will finish night one. I think 39. That was the question about the tag titles going on last, or was it a different match? Was it the women's match? One of the women's titles matches. So it was the Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte and Rhea. Yeah. So that was the big question of 39. You could do that again this year. It all depends on the story. Jey and Gunther have a story, and Jey Uso's already indicated he's going after Gunther. So there's a story there. He did in the presser. I know. Okay. So there is a story that's built in there. Now, what comes out of, let's say, the Elimination Chamber, and what comes out of the Women's Chamber, the Men's Chamber, and also Charlotte Flair and her decision, that is also going to affect where the Rumble winner slots in on the WrestleMania card. There have been winners that have not been the last match on WrestleMania. This could be one of those years, but again, it depends on the story, and it depends on how the fans get behind it. So I liked it. I liked the sudden change. People were going in and being like, oh, it's definitely going to be Charlotte and it's definitely going to be Cena, or they were very confident, as we were on Friday. We were fairly confident about John Cena, very confident about Charlotte.
I said Roman.
Did you say? Regardless, it was one of those ideas that it's just, he came in, he won the match. Jey Uso's going to WrestleMania, and he's got another title shot when Gunther had already said, forget you, you're done, go to the back of the line. Well, suddenly the guy at the back of the line is at the front of the line again because he won the Rumble. It's pretty big news. I thought it was cool.
I don't think Jey Uso's facing Gunther. I don't think that's the match. I know he's indicated Gunther. He said all that. I don't think that's the match. So when we start in the weeds on Tuesdays moving forward, which is tomorrow, people who watch FMC know SP3 and I like to do a thing called Hot Take Tuesdays. But we do it with basketball stuff. We will talk about basketball tomorrow, everybody. I think I've seen some super chats mentioning the Dallas Mavericks trade, the Sacramento Kings trade, also San Antonio Spurs trade. SP3 and I will be talking about basketball. Don't worry about that. We're going to be doing Hot Take Tuesdays as well, on a wrestling version. Let's get people upset on the Tuesday show. So that is something we'll be doing. But as a little preview, I have a very hot take. I think it's a very hot take. I don't know. You can let me know, Joel. 2 triple threat matches headline WrestleMania nights. Okay. Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, John Cena is your night one main event for the undisputed WWE title. Jey Uso does not make his decision anytime soon. He waits a hair, however long he waits. John Cena wins the Elimination Chamber. He says, all right, I'm taking on Cody Rhodes. He's assuming kind of sort of that Jay's going to take on Gunther. He's going after that title. He wants to face Cody Rhodes. Also at Elimination Chamber, though, CM Punk beats. Sorry. Also at Elimination Chamber, Seth Rollins beats Gunther, wins the title. All right. Roman comes in, swinging dick, and he says, I want you at WrestleMania. CM Punk comes in, swinging dick as well. Is that a favor? This is what I want at WrestleMania. Night 2 main event. Seth, Roman, CM Punk. 2 triple threat matches headline WrestleMania. I got you there. I'm not just throwing this out there like, oh, this is what they could do. I gave you the stories. You don't have to like it. I don't care if you like it or not. Are they going to do it? I don't know, but I'm presenting it to you. Logically presenting it to you, by the way. I'm not just throwing random ideas out there. I'm telling you how it's all set up. I'm telling you what they can do. If you don't like it, that's fine. I'm not sold on it or anything. They might not do it. They probably won't do it. But this is my prediction. This is my prediction.
What is a hot take if you don't stand by it, Jeremy? Come on. 10 toes down. Let's go.
I mean, I can stand by it.
That's fair. I don't necessarily think I agree with you on it, but I do understand your logic. I know that's why I'm saying it's conversation. It's two way. You can be wrong, I can be right, and I can be right and you can be wrong. That's right. So point is here, I feel like we're just gonna do Jey and Gunther on one night, and I feel like we're gonna get to a different WWE Championship match. I did mention shortly after the Rumble that I could see Jey losing his WrestleMania spot or his title match thing, like the G1 suitcase in the chamber. I could see them doing something like that. I don't necessarily love it because, again, I'm thinking of things they haven't really done with the chamber yet, and that's one of the stipulations they've never broached. So it would be interesting if they tried that one. However, I think Jey and Gunther is enough of a match, and Saturday night's main event also proved that those two can have a very solid wrestling match with some story involved. And this time, Jey wins, and it's a big moment because, again, WrestleMania is the moments, and that's a big moment. Do I love the idea that Gunther is going to do another WrestleMania where he drops a championship after holding it for an extended amount of time? No, I don't love it. But if it's in service of Jey Uso as a world champion, even for a little bit, I'm okay with it. I'd be fine with it.
Okay. I don't think Jey Uso and Gunther is a match. I
Okay.
just don't.
Oh, I thought you would look like you were about to formulate another
brain
thought.
broke.
Where were you going?
I don't think. Here's why. I don't think Jey Uso and Gunther is the match because I don't think that's a main event. No offense to Gunther. He has not been presented at that level to where this feels like the main event. Can they get him there in 2.5 months? Yeah, they can. They can highlight him in 2.5 months. The other issue is we just saw this as Saturday night's main event. That doesn't mean you can't go back to it, but we just saw it. So it does not feel like this big time WrestleMania main event right now on February 3rd. Again, they can get there. I don't think they're going to get there, though, because I don't think that's the match. I think they're going in a completely different direction. And what gives me a little optimism or confidence of this is they just had Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble. The fact that they were going with Jey Uso as the Royal Rumble winner makes me believe that we're going to get some twists and turns that maybe we're not fully expecting here. And I think one of the twists and turns is that Gunther is going to lose this title before then. Because right now, if you're looking at things logistically for February 3rd, people are going to say, okay, Jey Uso and Gunther, that's one of the title matches, right? I don't know if it's a night one main event, but it's one of the title matches. Maybe you put Charlotte and Tiffy as the other main event, or as the main event of night one. And then your other main event is, you would think, Cody and Cena. Because Cena made it very clear, I should headline WrestleMania. I'm going to headline WrestleMania. I'm in the Elimination Chamber. I'm going to win the Elimination Chamber. So that you're looking at the night 2 main event is Cena and Cody. Roman's not going to main event? Really? Really? CM Punk's not going to main event? Okay. Seth is not going to main event. That whole story, everything they have done for years with Roman and Seth, all the history they have with those three, the big tease they did at Rumble with those three, that's just gonna, here's your co-main event. Here's opening night 1 or opening night 2. I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. I think they get a title on one of these guys, and I think that's your night 2 main event.
So Which title? You think it would be the world title, not the?
It's the world heavyweight title. Seth beats Gunther at Elimination Chamber, and I saw somebody ask like, "Oh, why does Seth get it? He wins a qualifying match. I don't care how you set it up. That's how they set up everything, right?"
Yeah, well, again, it depends who's wrestling in the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches for the next little while. So I'm curious. On the Jey Uso and Gunther front, every time they've gone one-on-one, that's not a dark match or a house show match, Gunther's won. That is something that they should bring up more. They've brought it up as the King of the Ring final. They brought up those Saturday Night's Main Event match. So like they're trying to play it as a not even a best of 3 because Gunther's already won 2 in a row. But like even in the Intercontinental Championship days, Gunther was winning those matches. There's a way that you could play it off as like David and Goliath, make it a big story. Gunther's the big bad wolf, whatever. And Jey Uso gets the win. And that's, again, building to a moment as a casual viewer or as just as a fan who's not watching our show, for example, probably going to get a big kick out of watching Jey Uso beat the big bad Gunther. But I also see your point when it comes to where do you slot in all the stars that you and I noted in the Rumble who did not win. John Cena's another one. Is John Cena going after Cody Rhodes? What are we going to do about KO, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes? That story's got to get locked in. And if they do that in Toronto, that's going to be a very strange reaction for all 3 guys in Toronto at the Elimination Chamber. If that's a 3-way match, or at least some sort of combination of Sami and Cody, and then you have KO somewhere in there, it's going to be weird. But Jey Uso, as of right now, has won the Royal Rumble. As of right now, he has claims to whichever world title he wants. I doubt he's going to go for the US or the Intercontinental. But stranger things have happened. Someone asked Trish Stratus, or not Trish, sorry, I saw Trish in the comments. Someone asked Charlotte about going after those other 2 titles, and she said, I think it was, I don't remember who it was, but someone had asked her about that. And Zisa from Lucha Libre Online. And Charlotte was like, oh, maybe. And I just kind of laughed. I'm like, oh no, you're not going to go after those US or Intercontinental Championships. You're the queen. Bow down. With Jey, man, I would feel a little bad if I'm a big Jey supporter that he gets short end of the stick. In this case, yes, I'm using it as a verb. He would lose. In
what case?
If someone else, okay. If he goes up one-on-one against Gunther, it feels like he wins that match, wins the World Heavyweight Championship, has his moment.
What's a bigger match, Joel?
It's let me finish my
okay.
point here. Okay. I understand your point. I fully understand your point about you have Roman, some combination of everyone you just mentioned in a World Heavyweight Championship match, and maybe Jey's in there too. I see less of a possibility or probability of Jey winning and having the same moment as he would, again, coming at you from a Jey Uso fan perspective. If someone who's a big fan of Jey Uso wants to see him get that moment, I see the moment hitting harder, beating Gunther one-on-one. Given their history, Gunther has his number at every turn, and this has been a big story that's been developing. And again, if you continue to build it that way, you have more emotional investments. Everyone that you mentioned going into a match and Jey Uso gets involved as well, even if Jey wins, it doesn't become as important in my eyes, other than, oh, he pinned this guy. I get it. I don't think that makes him. I don't think you pin Roman Reigns. He's pinned Roman Reigns. What happened when he pinned Roman Reigns?
One, you clearly did not listen to the match that I pitched because Roman Reigns is not in that match.
I'm making the point that if he pins whoever big guy you want to talk about, I don't think that the emotional investment is as much there as it would be with Gunther.
Beating Gunther one-on-one in the co-main event or first on the card or wherever is a bigger deal than pinning Cody Rhodes or John Cena in the main event.
I see it less.
Are you hearing yourself?
I see it less likely that he wins that match, is my point.
But let's say he does.
I doubt that he will. What, he's going to get a roll-up win on Cena, and what do we go from there?
What do you mean roll-up win? It's the main event. They're going to put him over strong.
Not necessarily.
You say, what do you mean not necessarily? Stop it. You saying it's less likely doesn't mean it's not going to happen. And then you still argued him winning, and if he pins Roman Reigns, it is less like, or it's not as big as a moment. Are you kidding?
I think the story is much more in what they're doing with Gunther than what you're trying to set up.
The story is he's going after the title. There's so much story with Cody Rhodes. There's still story with John Cena. John Cena going after 17. Cody being like, yeah, I carried you, Jay. Cody's being a little dickhead, by the way. Cody being like, remember the tag team titles? I saw something in you. Now your main event, Jey Uso. When Roman didn't want you to be that guy. Now you're here. There's plenty of story with Cody and John Cena. And if Jey Uso pins one of them, that's not a bigger moment than pinning Gunther one-on-one.
So who pins whom in this scenario?
I don't care who Jey pins. He stacks them.
A triple threat.
Stacks them and yeets on them.
I think a triple threat is also just a lazy way to do a title match, especially at WrestleMania. In most cases, in fact. A triple threat is typically, when it was ECW, it was a way that they were trying to not have your champion get pinned and save your champion. Why Cody doesn't need saving at this point. He's had the title.
Jey pins Cody.
Then why is John Cena in the match?
John Cena won the Elimination Chamber.
So then why are they making it a triple threat? Like why would they do that with the Royal Rumble winner and the Elimination Chamber winner going after the same title? Why would that be even allowed in the WWE canon, quote unquote?
Why wouldn't it be? Why are we making rules? Who cares?
Well, because
you can do whatever you want
as well. I know, but they also try to make rules when it's convenient for them.
Because Jey doesn't pick who he faces just yet. He can pick whenever he wants. He doesn't call a shot right now. He can wait.
It's this. It's X3 saying in a triple threat, Jey isn't the star. In a one-on-one versus Gunther, Jey is the star.
So guess what happens when Jey Uso pins Cody Rhodes?
People boo because they wanted to see Cody Rhodes have a match where he wins.
They do not boo. They yeet all over the place.
I don't know about that. Jey Uso should go after Joe Hendry for the title at Rebellion.
Jey is not the star in the match. He just won the Royal Rumble. He is a huge star that they're putting in the main event of WrestleMania against John Cena and Cody Rhodes. That's a bigger star than co-main event or first on the match against Gunther. It just is. So no one can argue different.
I'm a firm believer, Jules, that any star, any athlete can have a bad night. Any athlete can lose on their off night. And that's kind of the story that becomes Gunther losing, is that he gets too full of himself. His hubris gets the best of him. Someone always takes advantage. That's how it was with Sammy. That's how it would be with Jey. Like, again, the story is there. Jey Uso coming from behind and having to beat everyone who's told him he's not worth it. That's been the story for Jey Uso. Everyone's been telling him, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do the thing. Gunther is going to be the most you can't do it wrestler that he's faced. And he's gonna.
How's he not the underdog in Cody Rhodes and John Cena, though?
Because Cody Rhodes and John Cena have both pushed Jey Uso to be the main event, whereas Gunther is sitting there saying, you're a piece of shit and you're not going to win anything. So he's going to have to prove his biggest doubter wrong to win the championship.
He can prove his biggest doubter wrong, who's going to lose the title at Elimination Chamber anyway, by the way, by beating John Cena and Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is going to be a little dickhead in the lead up to this match, too. John Cena is probably going to be a little shit too.
I don't see fans going along with that as much as they would with Gunther. With Gunther, I feel like they would absolutely boo and cheer accordingly. It's a cartoon event. That particular world title match is the cartoon, and I mean this in a respectful way. Cartoon in the, you know who to boo, you know who to cheer, and you will absolutely stay with it till the end. You'll ride it because you want the good guy to win and beat the bad guy. Very straightforward storytelling, very straightforward world title match. To me, it just makes sense, and it'll get everyone excited.
Okay.
I see where your point is.
Yeah, I see yours. I think you're being way too dismissive of, Jey Uso, this doesn't make him, or how is he a bigger star by pinning Cody Rhodes or John Cena? Like, that's dumb. You realize that, right? You're not dumb. That comment is dumb.
I understand what you're trying to say, but I'm also coming at this from telling a story in a WWE perspective.
Okay, here's where I'm going to challenge you, because telling a story in a WWE perspective is no longer this sort of straightforward type of thing. Because if it was, Jey Uso probably isn't winning the Royal Rumble. They love to do this sort of shades of gray, this little Easter egg stuff, this I'm right, you're wrong type of thing. And you can do that with Jey Uso. They love to play off the history now. There's a lot of history with Jey and Cody. There's history with just John Cena being in this match altogether and going after 17. I think you're taking a myopic view of the WWE storytelling. And I'm not saying they're doing Sopranos and The Wire level storytelling like Paul Heyman likes to argue, but we are being a little naive if we are thinking like it's just all black and white. It's just heroes and villains type of thing, because they don't do that anymore.
But we've talked about the fact that they don't do it, but they do it still. There are still stories in WWE that absolutely follow that canon. Chelsea Green is a good example of that. They're doing it with the characters that are very just straight-laced white meat, babyface, or just straight up heel. They're telling those stories. I get it. People are they're cheering Chelsea because they like the gimmick. They like the shtick. That's fine. I understand that. But the point is she's still a heel. She's still a heel doing heel things. This is the same idea here. You have a very, very clear as day heel character in Gunther, a very, very plain as day babyface, white meat babyface Jey Uso. It's not CM Punk. It's not Kevin Owens. No one has been on a different ride. This is a straightforward story, and every story is different, by the way. So yes, you may say it's a myopic view and it's a very straightforward, it's very simple, but it's also one of the stories that they would tell while they do the other story that's going to be that shades of gray BS, whatever. Like, feel how you will about these guys. That is the story that you tell with Roman Reigns, with CM Punk, with Seth Rollins, because guess what? Those guys have been the dudes for the last 10, 15 years that you have different views on. You ride with them differently. Jey Uso, you ain't feeling that way. You're with Jey Uso because you've seen Main Event Jey Uso. You're on the ride, blah, blah, blah. And Gunther's always been a piece of shit. So you run him with it. Straightforward. Just this match I'm talking about. The other ones, you're going to do the thing.
They can do it with multiple matches.
There will be multiple matches. It's WrestleMania. It's not a one-match card.
Yeah, but they can do this whole storytelling stuff with multiple matches because they like to do that, Joel. They like to. Okay, so what are your main events then? Do you think Jey and Gunther is a main event?
No, I don't think it goes on last.
Okay, so what are your two main events? If Jey and Gunther is one of the matches, you have said it, it's in stone in the Joel Pearl universe, but that's not a main event. So what are your two main events?
So night 2, I would probably do Cody and Cena.
Okay.
At this point, I might switch it out for Reigns and Punk, depending on where the story goes and what's at stake. Tribal Chief CM Punk. I don't know what a Reigns CM Punk or even a Seth Rollins Roman Reigns match would look like. You can't leave CM Punk in the cold. He wants a world title match, or he wants a main event match. You get it from Roman Reigns. What is that match? I don't know, but I feel like if they give it enough of an oomph or a stipulation, then it can be the main event of most likely night 2 because it's Roman. So yeah, I see Gunther and Jey as like a either middle of the card, big emotional moment, just like they did with Kofi Mania, or it becomes an opening match type of thing.
So winning the Royal Rumble does not get you a WrestleMania main event. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me that's
been that way for years.
What do you mean it's been that way for years?
It's been that way for years.
A Royal Rumble winner, one of the two, has always been in the wrestle. When was the last time?
Daniel Bryan. That was WrestleMania. I think it's 28. That was the first match of the card. 2012. There have been others.
When was the last time?
Oh, Christ, why do I have to go back in the fucking WrestleMania?
Grays is saying 28. That's a long time ago, folks. A long time ago. They make a big deal out of Royal Rumble gets you the main event of WrestleMania. They make a huge deal out of it.
They also use it very loosely with main event.
Sure, but they make a big deal. You get the main event of WrestleMania, and with 2 nights, they've always given one of the winners a WrestleMania main event.
2018, Shinsuke did not main event.
Okay.
So there's another one. This is 2018.
So that's where we're going?
2019, Seth, did he main event against Brock, or did that open the show?
That opened the show. Wasn't there a women's Royal Rumble? Becky won the women's Royal
Becky
Rumble
match. Okay, so that was the Becky match.
So she main evented, yeah.
Drew in 2020 did main event. 2021 was Bianca. That was Mercedes the first night. Edge. Oh, that was the triple threat. Ronda in 22. Did Ronda main event one of the nights against Charlotte?
I don't think so.
No. So there you go. So 2022 for the women.
Yeah, and last year the past couple of years the women have main evented. I understand that it hasn't been both of them main evented, but they've always done. I guess 2018 was the last time, and that card sucked. So think of that what you will. So they have done the main event for a long time now. That one of the Rumble winners is getting a main event. You have 2 nights to do a main event, and you're not going to give either of the Rumble winners a main event spot.
Again, this is why you give Charlotte, could be one of those main events. Maybe she's got it.
So Roman's not going to main event then?
Maybe Roman gets night 2 after all, and night 1 goes to the others. Goes to Charlotte.
Charlotte and Tiffy is the main event of night 1, and then the world title match is not on last on night 2. Cody and Cena's opening the show.
I mean, if John Cena wants to get the early bird special at Denny's, I get it. It's WrestleMania Vegas, so the show starts at 3:00 local. Again, it's a very strange situation that they've put themselves in. I mean, I know that they haven't put themselves in a strange situation. They've put people like us in a strange situation where we're trying to piece things together, and things don't piece together so well. Some people just won't have a moment at WrestleMania in the main event. That's just the way it is.
Okay.
On Friday, you would have said, you can do Cody and Punk, and that's a moment, or KO and Punk. You could have said on Friday, you could have said that, but everything gets jumbled around. Charlotte is Charlotte. There is a possibility that they push her to that main event, or that if they do Rhea and let's say Bianca Belair, that's another main event potential. Again, depending on the story. If the story is strong, then that dictates where it is on the card. In 2018, Shinsuke versus AJ Styles was not as strong, unfortunately, as Brock and Roman Reigns for the 15th time at that point. Everyone should work the main event simultaneously. I do agree. It should be a WrestleMania Royal Rumble main event. The Mania Rumble, if you will.
I don't think they are going to have both Rumble winners not main event. I just don't see it.
That's fair. I see that. And I understand that for some people, that's a big deal that the Royal Rumble winner gets that main event. And then WWE would probably go back and retort and be like, well, they didn't always get the main event. That only started, 20 years ago. And that's how they get around that BS, because they just make the rules as they go along. So I don't know where things stand. I see, Michael in the chat saying it's refreshing that nothing's certain and up in the air. I do like that. That's how conversations like this kind of stem and become very, very interesting. We get to, it's a bit of fantasy book, but it's also a bit of like card placement, fantasy booking, but still putting things in their places. I appreciate that. Do a casino gauntlet for the WWE Championship. Let's go. Come on, Henry. Let's go. That'll be the main event. Everyone just comes out one by one. And Will Ospreay somehow still wins, even though he's not under contract. Oh, you want to hit a couple super chats?
Sure.
So I know Matthew Hooks, you made reference to it. Matthew Hooks saying, I'm sports depressed by my Mavs. Give me good AEW.
Sorry, Matthew. And look, we ain't talking much AEW on this show. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we got a couple notes from Collision, but it was kind of what it was. Collision was taped on Thursday and it aired on the Saturday. Well, we'll give a little bit to it. Kim Gray saying, I'm bummed. I'm not going to, sorry, I was bummed. Not going to lie. I just don't want Cena to be a big old loser this year. I think the idea with Cena here was that he was caught off guard by being in the final 2 and then losing in the final 2. So he's been telling you since the beginning, I'm a big old loser. I haven't won a match and blah, blah, blah. But he's also, go back to this. He was promoted for the Elimination Chamber. They said he's getting into the Elimination Chamber in that on location stuff. Jeremy pushed back. I get it. But it feels like John Cena will be in the Elimination Chamber. There's one thing that I'm waiting for, Jeremy. I'm waiting for them to announce the location of Money in the Bank this year. Because for the last year, this 2025, this is the last year where you possibly have John Cena and CM Punk under the same umbrella, go back to Chicago. Do Money in the Bank one last time. Do it in Chicago. Make it a moment. Do the callback. People will want it, whether that's title match or if it's both men are in the Money in the Bank or neither or one, whatever. Do some sort of callback. I think that's there. I don't know if you're in on that.
Well, that's fine. I don't know where Money in the Bank is, and we shall see where they announce it. And John Cena is going to be in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Start putting your feelers out there. Tenders is saying, guys, enough of the Rumble talk. We got Kate out here in a Canadian tuxedo, clean sweeping the Grammys. That was epic. Drake in Australia with tears.
Drake had to delete so many people out of his phone. He sent like an angry group text, Beyonce, Taylor, Chappell Rowan. Like he's just sending an angry group text of like, fuck all y'all, and then just delete them out of his phone. That's what he did.
Good. I'm not going to see him at the Elimination Chamber. Oh, Kate should have been at the Intuit Dome. The arena and the celebs singing A minor was insane. It was fantastic. I rewatched that this morning and I cackled. It's fantastic. Wilchism asking, did Seth shoot on Roman with that 2-foot stomp?
That rolled.
Oh, that looked painful.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think there's a healthy amount of respect between the two to keep each other safe. I think if anything, Seth maybe slipped, or maybe Roman was just like, just get me. Oops.
Yeah, I honestly think that just Seth made it look good and Roman made it look good, and maybe there was a conversation afterwards of like, that was a good one. But I think both are professionals.
I'm gonna get you back, Goose. And you just know there's a spear with Seth's name on it that's just gonna rock him.
He's gonna make Braun Breaker do it.
He's gonna turn you into Show Speed. That shit was wild. But yeah, that the Seth and Roman stuff, like they really heated up that again with a very simple interaction outside after they got eliminated from the Rumble. I could see again Seth and Roman. There's a match there. There always has been, always will be. Maybe it's time to lay that to rest, or maybe there's a little bit more time on the fire for those two.
Night 2 main event: Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns.
Ryan Lambert saying, with all these big matches that could main WrestleMania. Let's try this again. Ryan Lambert saying, with all these big matches that could main event WrestleMania, the only logical answer is a 4-day WrestleMania, baby. That is the answer.
They've got a good problem right now with how do you get this person in the main event? How do you get this person in the main event? Feelings are going to be hurt. Just like feelings were hurt a couple years ago when Charlotte and Rhea didn't get the main event and the tag team match got the main event. Last year was pretty straightforward, but we took the Rumble winner out last year. The women's Rumble winner didn't get the main event. And I don't think there were too many hurt feelings off of that. I think Becky was cool, going opening against Rhea. I think she's all right with it. No, Bailey won last year. And that match did not feel. Yeah, that match was not the main event match. Sorry to Bailey and Io. But yeah, feelings are gonna be hurt when it comes to this stuff because a lot of people right now got main event claims, and there's only 2 spots. That's why I could see them trying to fill more of those spots by doing 2 multi-man matches.
Very curious. Speaking of a lot of people vying for main event spots, Drew McIntyre in the news. Fightful Select reported Drew McIntyre was unhappy following the Royal Rumble, and there are still some question marks as to why. PW Insider originally had the report that Drew stormed through the gorilla position and was vocally unhappy about things. And though the specifics were not clear, Fightful has been able to confirm that this did occur, and nobody was, quote, in on it. So we don't know what's going on with McIntyre right now. We just know that he's stormed out. Allegedly, he seems to have had some issue with someone, quote, having to get their moves in. And then originally, Damian Priest was to eliminate Drew McIntyre before Logan Paul's entrance and not after. Logan Paul was in the match at the time. There was interaction between Logan Paul and LA Knight, and then the elimination occurred. So waiting to see what happens with Drew McIntyre and also where the story goes with him moving forward if he's walked out, or at least I'm not saying walked out, visibly frustrated.
It was weird in that you wouldn't have known anything went wrong until this came out. Because if you watched it, yeah, there's a little bump as Logan and LA Knight are doing their stuff. And then Damian kind of bumps into them doing the elimination. But then they focused on McIntyre and Damian for the elimination. And I was like, oh, they're setting up. They're setting up Damian and Drew, which you can feel how you want about that. Do I think it's the best use of Drew McIntyre? No, but I think they're higher on Damian Priest as one of the top guys than I am. I didn't think the elimination was weird or anything. I thought Drew played it off of like, oh, this guy got me. Like, that's what happened here. I didn't think it was a unplanned spot or anything like that. It was just, that's what they were setting up. And again, you wouldn't have known any different outside of, oh, okay, this is what they're setting up if this report doesn't come out. Now, if I'm Drew McIntyre and I spent all the year that I did feuding with CM Punk, who couldn't wrestle for half the year, winning the title and then getting the title cost for me from Damian Priest, by the way. So there is history there to do a Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre feud. You can play off of that. Even though they did do McIntyre and Priest at Clash at the Castle, and CM Punk screwed him over there as well. So like McIntyre doesn't have that win back because Punk kept getting in the way. But going back to my original point, if I'm Drew McIntyre and I've done all of this work for the past year, and then I see where CM Punk's at, and I see where Seth Rollins at, and I see what Roman is doing. I see Cody's the champion. I see Jey Uso ascending and winning the Rumble. I'm probably a little irritated. Just, if I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm not Drew McIntyre. He's much bigger than I am.
You sure?
Yeah.
Can you put on a Scottish brogue? No?
I can't do an accent.
True.
But like, I probably feel some type of way about that. I'm like, and I've done all this, and I just got like this feud against Damian Priest, which is fine. There's nothing bad, this feud with Damian Priest. But I think this goes back to, and CM Punk has said this, and, CM Punk probably has a point of this. CM Punk has even said, I understand Drew McIntyre's perspective. You did all this work for all these years, and the crowd still chanted my name. I come back in here and the crowd still chanted my name. I come back here and I'm beating you. And I'm on this level and you're still down here. And yeah, there might be a little, okay, he's telling a story, but there's a little bit of truth in all of these stories, especially with these guys. So if I'm Drew McIntyre, I probably am a little pissed off about that. Like, I did all this work for all these years, and then CM Punk waltzes in here and he gets this spot. You tell people when they get released, go pull a Drew McIntyre. Go do what Drew did. Go get yourself in great shape. Go get yourself creatively the best you've ever been. Go reinvent yourself. Go work everywhere and get yourself over, and then come back and you will be a whole different person. You tell people to go pull a Drew McIntyre, when really they should pull a CM Punk, and they should, have crowd chant their name for 10 years. That's a whole lot easier said than done, because people don't leave on the level CM Punk did. But again, if I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm probably a little irritated by this.
There was also some dark Twitter rumbling about Drew wanting a Roman Reigns match. Clearly, this past Monday on Raw, you did see Drew confront Paul Heyman when they did the 2K25 reveal, and they very clearly, he very clearly made allusion to wanting to face Roman, but also mentioned CM Punk in the same kind of sentence or in the same promo. It's a possibility, and this is very much me just speculating, that at the Rumble, when conversations were had about what next, Drew was not being put in the Roman Reigns category of challengers. Whether that's up at Elimination Chamber or if that was a WrestleMania thing, it's entirely possible that Drew found out that he was getting, and that just put him in a bad mood. And then whatever happened in the Rumble that was not planned to happen when it did, that kind of set him off. And he said, I got screwed again, and I don't like this, and I'm upset and I'm annoyed, which rightfully so. I get it. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I'm curious what changes from here, what happens from here. Does he play good soldier and go on with whatever the plans are, because then he gets a spot on the Mania card anyway? Or do things change to suit whatever frustration he has? I don't know. I just know that he's the problem with having done this before is that it opens the door to him doing this every time he's frustrated, right? When Punk came back in 2023, the report was he went to his dressing room because he didn't know, or he was just frustrated about not knowing or not being told soon enough, and he put on his hoodie and he just left the arena and didn't want to be around everyone, and that was that. So if this is the same situation, and then they turned it into a big moment and a big story for a good year.
A big story because Drew injured Punk. Now, if that doesn't happen, who knows if that's any type of plan.
That is also a very good point. We don't know what could have been had all of this not, again, a big convenience of events, confluence of events that led to this really great story for Drew. He deserves the opportunities that have been given to him. And maybe he's just frustrated that the latest opportunity that he wants to call for isn't being offered up. And if that's the case, then I get it. However, if he's just annoyed because of what happened at the Rumble and that's it, and it's a standalone issue, then that's a little interesting. I'm just curious, because if you go back and watch the elimination, it is awkward. It's just because LA Knight and Logan Paul, like I said, they're interacting in the ring. It felt like one was 2 steps off, and then Drew and Priest go this way while Knight and Logan Paul are going the other, like they're going front wise while they're going the other way towards the entrance. So it was just an awkward 2-step that they had to do to get there. And then he goes over the top rope, but they do the big, like, oh my God moment. Drew McIntyre's hair, by the way, very dry. Did you notice that? It was very silky. Yeah, he didn't wet his hair as much. Yeah, it like Henry's saying, it just looked clunky.
Yeah, you can tell they bumped into each other. But again, if you like, it looked clunky, but like there's a lot of people in that match. Like, stuff like that is going to happen. So to me, it wasn't like, oh man, they took away from the moment. I just saw it and I was like, oh, Damian eliminated McIntyre. All right, this is what they're setting up. They bumped into each other because there's people there. It happens. Like,
this is a year where both Rumble matches had full rings throughout the entirety of the match. They haven't done that in a while, where they've had like upwards of 15 people in the ring at the same time. That's tough to navigate, right? We asked Paul London about it on our interview on Friday, and even he was confused. Actually, he was confused as about why Mark Jindrak beat the shit out of him for the entirety of his time in the match. But the point is, if you're that full in the ring, it's going to be hard to step around people. Bodies are everywhere, and people are trying to get their stuff in and work with somebody or rest, whatever it is. And it looks like it was just an awkward moment between 4 people. And that's the way it goes. Get ready for an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight.
I know Drew's a professional. I assume he'll be fine, and he'll show up to Raw tonight or next week, and they'll figure it all out. Raw is in Cleveland tonight. And of course, Punk famously 2014 did the Rumble and then did not show up to Raw in Cleveland. So,
well, X3 pointing out, could be Drew calling back to Punk walking out in 2014.
Maybe. I mean, look, we know he signed a new contract. So that's the thing, is we know he's just signed a new contract last year. Well, this is not going to be a case of, he's going to waltz into AEW in Australia in 2 weeks and win the world title, although that'd be great. I just think he takes a week or two, figure things out, comes back, Drew's a pro, does business, and then he moves forward. But again, if he is irritated with things, I think there's reason for it. Because everybody wants this Mania main event, man. That's what Cody has said. Cody said it in interviews last year. He's like, winning the world title, like, you can do that anytime. You got 365 days to win the world title. You got 2 chances to main event WrestleMania. You got 2 chances a year to main event WrestleMania. It's harder to do that than to win the world title. And it's become like this such an important spot for that's been the promos with CM Punk. Or if they're not talking about him walking out, they're talking about him not main eventing WrestleMania. Like that's been such an important spot. And so, yeah, if I'm Drew, I did all this work last year. The one main event at WrestleMania I got was in front of nobody. And then I had to face the big show on Raw after. And then that's the secret main event type of thing. Yeah, I'm probably a little irritated. And he wants the Roman match. And I don't blame him. Because everyone knows, just like I've been saying before Royal Rumble, just like I'm going to keep saying leading up to WrestleMania, Roman's a guaranteed main event. There will be a title, even if there's not a title. Roman is a guaranteed main event at WrestleMania. And that's why so many people want to work with Roman.
Drew. Yeah, it's Dwayne. Yeah, no, I saw what happened at the Rumble. Yeah, I heard. I know they say don't listen to the dirt sheets, but I listen to you. So listen, from one big D to another big D, come back to work. Come on, bring the big sword. We'll have a good time. We'll go take a bottle of mana. We'll play around with the sword. Come back to work. Okay? Come on, Drew. Come on. All right. Thanks, brother. All right. Love you. Go see Moana 3. All right. Bye-bye. And that's how he gets back to work. Drew on the other line just being like, did I just get a match with The Rock? And then he comes back to work expecting a match with The Rock, and he just walks out again. Hey, no number 31 in the Rumble, Jeremy.
Bless Jimmy Van. That thing is so dumb. Love Jimmy Van. He allegedly signs my checks, but we got to stop with this 31 nonsense.
It's been 15 years. Stop it. It's actually been longer than that. Someone has tried to book a 31 for longer than you've pitched it. Not you specifically, Jeremy. I've
never pitched it. I think it's dumb.
Good. It is dumb. Nobody should ever pitch it again. Stop pitching 31. It is a bad idea. It will never happen. And when it does, everyone's going to shit on it. Except for like the 3 people who are like, oh, I've been waiting for this to happen. And we're just going to be like, well, that was stupid. Never, ever, 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 ever do 31 again. Stupid.
When did they do it the first time? What was
they've never done it. They've never done it.
Why do you keep saying again?
I meant again as in people pitching it.
Oh, okay.
People need to stop pitching it. They will never do it. The only time they've done 31 was when they did a 40-man Rumble. That's the only time. But that wasn't the same. It's been very frustrating. What about 32? Well, we got to get to... Can you count? No, anyway.
I do think, by the way, like I saw Jimmy's tweet. I don't know if he came up with it, but The Rock pulling rank of, I'm on the TKO board. I'm 31. Like there's something there. I still think it's dumb, but at least
why wouldn't he take someone who was? Why wouldn't he take number 29 and be like,
you're out? 29 though.
But my point is, why wouldn't he take number 30 and be like, all right, Logan Paul, sorry, buddy, I'm in, you're out. Like, why would he flex to make an extra number? Why wouldn't he take out somebody from the match?
Because he's a dickhead, Joel. Like he's got the power to do it, so that's why he does it. So
he's a bigger dickhead if he takes someone out of the Rumble that people like, not Logan Paul. Somebody actually liked them. Then it would have been different. Like if he went to Roman and was like, "Hey, big dog, I got this," then that would be, first of all, very funny because it would start the Roman versus Rock conversation again, and also it would get people to hate him. The Rock should have taken Tozawa's spot. That's the moment. Should have been.
Rock ain't going number 8. Get out of here.
Do you imagine? Paul's just like, speed, get in there. I can't. I'm not ready. All right, Dwayne, get in there. What do you mean get in there? We're here to talk about Mania plans. Yeah. The Mania plan includes you going in number 8, but I'm not ready. Yeah, you are. By the way, do you want to induct me into the WWE Hall of Fame next month? And we're back.
Did I show Speed spot? And we talked about, are they gonna have any celebrities? And I mentioned I show Speed because I was like, this dude's an athlete. Like he's
and I said,
legit.
Yeah, and what I said was I show Speed or Kai Cenat being in there would make sense. Both men didn't make sense. And I'm glad they went with one. I'm glad they went with Speed because he's just this wiry, tall dude that some people love and some people hate. And the people who hate him were vociferous, and he got laid out. It's fun.
He got wrecked, wrecked by Braun Breaker. That ruled. And then he got thrown over by Otis. Dude, bless him for taking that stuff. I don't know that much about him. I literally had no idea who he was until he showed up as a Prime Bottle last year at WrestleMania. And he took a kick from Orton. Orton booted the shit out of him. And then the RKO. I don't know why he's popular. I don't fully get it. I don't watch his streams. But do you look at like the numbers that dude pulls? It's undeniable. I saw like the tweet of him just like being on crutches, like 500,000 likes or some shit. It's absurd how like the numbers this guy has. So I don't blame WWE for using this stuff at all. And especially if he's willing to do it. If he's willing to take that spear by Braun Breaker, like, yeah, do it. Like, use it. It was a good spot. It was a cool spot. And good on IShowSpeed for taking that shit.
He took it hard. It was very fun. Yeah, it was, again, the Rumble had a lot of really interesting moments to it. I laughed that it ended up like the Lucha Rumble to start. It was all the Mexican talent come in. Ray comes in 1, and then you get Penta number 2. No Yeet, no number 2, and no Joe Hendry at number 1 or 2. He came in at
was there though. Big pop for old Joe.
Buddy, they knew who he was. They said his name, and he appeared, and they said it on the Chiron too, which was funny. Joe Hendry had a good appearance, got eliminated by Roman Reigns, did not get his John Cena time. So he's going to keep trying for that, I guess.
Yeah, but he got eliminated by Roman. Like, he got to share that moment with Roman. That's just as big as doing this moment with John Cena.
The IShowSpeed eliminating Otis was hilarious. Or helping to eliminate Otis.
Oh, yeah, and he barked with Braun Breaker. It was a cool little spot. Like, that was a good use of a celebrity. And like, they typically do pretty good job with the celebrity stuff, but that was a really good use of it. No Pat McAfee. You know, everyone thought that McAfee was going to have a spot, but he didn't. I didn't think it was necessary for him to have a spot. Just people thought it would happen being in Indiana, and it didn't.
And then just this kind of shows the depth of the roster that WWE has at their advantage right now. You know, you had Cena at 23, Punk at 24, Rollins at 25. They did a good little stare down there of like a multi-generational thing. Jacob Fatu, of course, having his moments. Drew comes in. Like, they had a lot of people that just made sense because they're featured regularly on the show. AJ Styles coming back, you know, puts him back hopefully into the line of fire when it comes to his WrestleMania opponents. I don't know where you could have fit any of those other guys. You know, as serious, like, I guess you could have put McAfee in as like one of the replacements for one of the comedy moments. But like, you wanted Mello in there because you want to keep doing the Mello is a big loser type of mentality. And eventually
he needed somebody to beat up Tozawa on his way out.
Yeah, and like that keeps his heat, and that was good. So it made sense. They did a good job of making sense of a lot of things in the Rumble. Even Fatu going absolutely nuts after Braun Strowman eliminates him. Again, feel how you will about Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu again, but at least like they're going back to it, and they want to have another big man, meaty, beat the shit out of each other match. And Jacob Fatu going crazy and throwing chairs and shit. Like, there's good stuff there. No Omos, even though he was in town. There were a number of people. Again, no other TNA talent besides Joe Hendry made an appearance. That's another.
I didn't expect anybody else.
Yeah, even on the women's side. I didn't necessarily expect a knockout to show up, but I would have been pleasantly surprised. It was a very proof positive that they have a very deep roster to pull from, especially going into Mania. Ludwig Kaiser was someone that they did the comedy spot with. That was a little strange to me, but I don't know if that's going to turn into Gunther, you know, getting heat by kicking out Ludwig Kaiser and Kaiser maybe going babyface. Don't know. Or if they're going to move Kaiser over to SmackDown. That's a possibility.
I don't think. Well, the transfer window has closed, Joel. So
has it closed? I thought it was closing at WrestleMania. I don't remember anymore.
No, it was closing Royal Rumble weekend, they said. Oh, so well, it is allegedly closed until, you know, they've been advertising Charlotte Flair on SmackDown for the past few weeks because they were running the vignettes on SmackDown, and she's going to be on Raw tonight. So who knows?
Yeah, I'm curious as to where it goes. But yeah, Gunther steals Tiffany from Ludwig Kaiser is a hilarious idea. I wouldn't do it either. Gunther's a very lucky and happy man, so we're okay with it. Tenruz is saying doing another 50-person Rumble in Saudi. I don't know, man. I don't think so. I think they'll try to keep it to a traditional one, but again, that's a year away. So who knows what expectations they have. Cyclops saying, get Troll out of the kitchen, he ain't cooking. Yes, I was. Screw you. You'll see. Cyclops also saying, I will defeat you, Gunther, but not at WrestleMania. If you smell. Suck. My God. So that was the men's Rumble. We got through it. We talked about the Jey stuff. Any other surprises or expectations? Penta, you know, coming in, having a good showing. getting pseudo eliminated but not eliminated in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, that ruled.
It's just like, you saw nothing, and then they go back, and it's fine. But Penta and Ray having the opening match because it was 2018 Lucha Crash all over again. It was good. We want to talk about the Women's Rumble, or do we want to talk about the WWE Championship ladder match?
Yeah, Kevin Owens was robbed again.
Dude, that ending, that finish. First of all, you don't see Alabama slams these days.
Yeah.
And when they did that, I had a look on my face. I was shocked. And KO just like ass over tea kettle, head in the ladder. The visual was amazing. Those two really went for it. It was crazy. I loved the match. I thought it was really well done. Thought the story was there with Sammy. They had a good job of, having Sammy run back and forth and try to, what do I do? Who am I friends with? Cody doesn't need a spine because he just kept taking those back bumps. KO's KO. It was what KO does every time he goes into a Royal Rumble world title match. He delivers. He loses, but he delivers. This is really good stuff.
This man losing. Tired of him losing. But the title on Kevin Owens. Cowards. Cowardly cowards.
They could have done it. They should have done it. They could have. They should have. They didn't. I would have done it. This was a really solid match. Very happy with that. I mean, I'm curious as to what not Cody, don't care about that right now. KO. What does KO do next when he takes off the neck brace? Does he go after Sammy and that's the match?
Orton's coming back at some point. Like, they're going to do Orton. Yeah, they're going to do Orton. I don't know if he goes after Sammy. Sammy he doesn't really have I guess he has a reason, but they got options there. Look, if it's not a world title match, if it's not a main event match, man, there's a lot of meat with Kevin Owens and CM Punk. I know they teased it on Friday, and that was a big kind of showdown. I thought that Kevin should have won the world title, which I've been saying that for months anyway. But he should have won the world title, and then Punk should have won the Rumble. I think Kevin should have been like, "Oh, congratulations! You want to face me? Okay, great. We're going on first, buddy. I've main evented WrestleMania. I've done it twice. I don't need to be in the main event. You want to face me? Fine. We're going on first. We ain't going on last. Just deny Punk that main event spot. Would have been fantastic.
Hey, man, remember, if you're not first, you're last. If you're second, it's the death spot. First
match. KO doesn't want to be second again. He's been there. He's experienced that one. He don't want to do that shit again. But just going on first of like trolling Punk of like, congratulations, you won. You're going to WrestleMania. But if you face me, we ain't going on last. So make your pick. Go. You want to face Gunther? Is that guaranteed to go on last? I don't know. But that's what you got to live with.
It's me, the number 31 entrant.
Gets out of my house.
Showing up, just because I can, just because I apparently signed the checks. That's me, the board member, rolling in late to take over.
Jeremy, is he watching our show? Is he finally?
I don't think so. He's just playing off the same tweet we were talking about.
Oh, I watched a little bit of the show.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I did.
How you doing?
There are some things I wanted to talk about. The Drew McIntyre thing. So this ties in with everything. Like just over the last few days, like I can literally just not report things and still get blamed for them, which is supremely annoying to me. To the point to where a WWE commentator has to clarify publicly on Twitter, hey, yo, this wasn't about Sean. But still, I took issue with the things that were said because the people they targeted reported their stories accurately. So it makes you go, well, why on earth would WWE and the people involved not want wrestling fans to trust or read news? I wonder. Maybe it is the amended sex trafficking lawsuit against WWE and Vince McMahon and the like, which a lot of people think is just against Vince McMahon, but no, it is against WWE as a company because the allegation is that many within the company were aware of it. Now, I want to say this first and foremost. What I will not do is fantasy book who did and didn't know anything. And I see a lot of people doing that. Listen, there was some language that people got very creative with that was in the amended lawsuit because of, a shared door or wall. Like I believe that was done intentionally as to create that conversation. But still, there were some new things that dropped in this. Brock Lesnar named officially in the complaint for the first time. He was named on the Mr. McMahon documentary, but never named in the lawsuit until now. There has never been real conversation of him coming back. I reported that back in January. 2K spent a lot of money to remove him from that video game. WrestleMania week, I had a very private meeting with the WWE higher up because I had gotten information that there was a media member about to report that Brock Lesnar was coming back. And that higher up was like, I don't care what anybody tells you. I can tell you this with 100% certainty. He is not back anytime soon. Here we are 9-10 months later, and there's a whole different set of things and some more doubt being sown in by WWE itself. Now, listen, I have a very amicable, positive relationship with WWE, all things considered, especially considering the nature of which I report things. I reported like 4 or 5 of their surprise entrants this week for the Royal Rumble. Like we put a whole bunch of them out there. Nikki Bella, AJ Styles, Jordan Grace, like a whole bunch of them were out there on Fightful Select. We have broken probably a half dozen stories in relation to Vince McMahon and his sexual misconduct allegations. You guys have talked about this dozens of times on your show. Jimmy and I have talked about it dozens of times on our show. Jeremy, Colin have written dozens of articles about this. So like, it's not an element of where, they're like, well, we're going to shut him out for doing that coverage. I do not cover it to the degree of which Brandon Thurston or BJ Bethel do, because I don't feel like I am as equipped to. And there was a lot of that I saw, and I understand people wanting the questions to be asked at the press conference. I'm with you. I wasn't there. Had my trip planned in June. Was not going to drag my lovely wife to a presser again and be on the road at 4 a.m. But you all have to also remember who is attending those pressers. And this is not me minimizing those people, but a lot of them are content creators. Some of them are practically kids. Some of them are like 19 years old, game streamers, people who do content. And I know that some people have said, well, maybe they should change the name of them. They call it the post show now. That's what they call it. And I don't have to agree with it, but there's a lot of people in that room not equipped to ask about it. You could argue that based on my coverage, I'm not equipped to either. But that being said, they invited a bunch of media that they tried to undermine on their own broadcast. Not only that, media in Mike and Dave, of which a lot of people seem to think that like we get together and have these chats about what we're going to. I have talked to Dave Meltzer maybe less than 10 times in my life. Mike less than 10 times in my life. We don't coordinate these things like that. That's not the way that works. And that's not the way that any sports media works. But the Alexa Bliss story they reported was accurate to the degree of when I reached out afterwards, even though it didn't affect me because I didn't report anything about Alexa until the day of. And we got a story dropping on Fightful Select today about just how accurate it was. And I'll go ahead and give a little detail. That contract was not signed until Saturday afternoon. And I was able to find out who worked on the deal, how long the deal is, some of the hiccups of the deal. Some people said, well, they had merch ready. Yeah, they wanted her back a couple weeks ago. And the long and short of it was she wanted a new deal. Her team wanted a new deal. And WWE said, hey, yo, we paid you for 2 years of maternity leave. And then like 9 months of injury time as well. Like we paid you while you were out. And she was like, well, let's still want a new deal. Still want a new deal. We had reported on Fightful Select. Shotzi was planned for that Royal Rumble. She was there. There were some others there as well, but Shotzi's the one that did rehearsals. And it was basically a plug and play. That's why her appearance was so short. But while I appreciate Stu Bennett, Bad News Barrett, Wade Barrett for clarifying that, because a lot of people just kind of vanished after that one and sharing those kind of words about me. I have also, and these two gentlemen above me have worked very hard to where you wouldn't be able to paint all wrestling media with a broad brush, because we try very hard and we do work very hard. Ultimately, I realize that I am reporting about wrestling gossip, and sometimes there are very serious things, but I would like to think that we do it to a very, very good and accurate degree. Now, I also would not have liked for them to have specifically targeted one person and sent a bunch of frustration their way, but like, this isn't the first time. It happens a lot. I'm just saying, maybe do it with something they got wrong next time. Like, maybe next time, just pick a story they actually got wrong. That's all. And the Drew thing is legit. It was about LA Knight. That's what happened. He was supposed to get eliminated. Drew was supposed to be eliminated by Damian Priest before Logan Paul even got out there. And the frustration surrounding that was they believed that LA Knight took his time doing stuff. There was some frustration there. I watched it back. I was like, there wasn't a whole lot of cushion in that. But there were a couple other people that agreed, but I don't think this is anything that can't be overcome and blown off on a SmackDown match or something.
I was going to say, you're going to see Drew McIntyre versus LA Knight in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match on Friday.
Yeah, they're pros. That's what they do. But yeah, we've got news on a lot of WWE contracts this week. We're going to be working on that. And for those saying, well, why didn't you ask about blah, blah, blah at the presser? I wasn't there. I planned way back to get on the road because this was a rare instance where I got to drive home after a PLE. That has never happened before. In fact, the one time it was supposed to, Denise Salcedo fucked me big time by having her wedding the next day in LA. So instead of driving home from Nashville after SummerSlam, I had to take a plane from Nashville to LA and then take a plane back from LA to Nashville.
See, this is why you like me better, because I at least held my wedding on a Bengals bye week on top of everything else.
You did. I did have to leave earlier than I anticipated there because I had put a deposit down on a Ford Bronco. And if I would have stayed until the morning, I would not have been back in time to have made the purchase. So we left late in the reception. Wonderful wedding, by the way.
Well, thanks for the hotel room, by the way.
It was an yeah, there you go. It was an all-star cast at that wedding.
Yes, it was. Well, your all-star is going to come over this way next month. So actually the end of this month. So looking forward to seeing you, Sean. The one thing I will add just on the topic of the press conference, I did reach out to a few friends who were in the room just about questions and what was or what they were told. Once again, no one was told not to ask about the lawsuit. So before anyone tries to put that out there, that was not the case. Some questions were somewhat pre-screened, as in they were asking, hey, who wants to ask a question to Paul Levesque? Okay, by the way, what's your question? That didn't stop anyone, but I don't know if that would have changed anyone's mind from asking a different question. But no one was actively told no, and no one was actively told, like, this is not the question you should ask.
Yeah, I've never been told that. I can tell you that my experience at SummerSlam, again, my wife was with me there, and that's what made me be like, I'm never bringing her to a presser again, just because, first off, you're taking somebody else's seat that maybe would have worked to be there, and I don't want to do that. But that was after the Backlash thing, and again, I remember how Lucas is treated, which, by the way, people seem to think that I saw like an uptick in that. Like there were people claiming like that we had a bad relationship with Lucas. And I'm like, Lucas even tweeted. He's like, and he messaged me. He's like, why do people think we don't like each other? Like, why? Like, we've always had a good relationship. I don't fault him for asking that question at Backlash. Not one bit. Not one bit. Triple H was playing semantics. They had talked about creative with Drew Gulak before those allegations came out. And all of a sudden, he wasn't brought back. You can say what you want to say about the semantics. Man was cut. That's it. That's it. They cut him and they said, we're not picking up your deal, even though we were going to before. And at SummerSlam, and you know, Triple H and I had a very spirited conversation, in which I can't detail, but they were like, you want to ask a question to Paul? He wants you to ask a question. I was like, oh, all right, I see. I understand the drill here. Like, I see what's going on. But also when I sent a message to one of my contacts after SummerSlam, like, what's up with Jacob Fatu? They were like, well, why don't you ask Paul that? And I was like, God damn it. I see what you all are doing here. Like, I understand it. And that's not what I wanted to ask Paul about. If I got the opportunity to ask Paul something, I can find that out from anybody. So I wanted to find out, is Stephanie McMahon back in the company? Like, is that like what's going on there? But there are a lot of people that there are some people that are legitimately disappointed and frustrated about that stuff not being asked. And I definitely get it. I certainly understand it. I don't want you all to think it's not being asked about. I don't attend many pressers these days, but I certainly ask about this stuff on probably an annoying amount to the people that I ask it to. So it's just, we can't manufacture information. I can't create information. I asked Saturday early in the day, is Michael Hayes there? I got a yep. I asked, was there any cause or pause for him to be there? And I was told, not that I had heard, no conversations regarding that. Maybe that's something that will be addressed later. But also, many of the people that are equipped to do that weren't there. And it's not like they could book a flight on a day's notice or 2 days notice when the amended lawsuit dropped. But yeah.
Nobody could use Skyscanner to get I'm just kidding.
And people, again, like half the media box was 2K streamers. Just so you guys know, I don't think they were at the presser, but like those people get flown out. Me and Denise do not get flown out. We do not get our flights and hotels paid for that type of stuff. Like there's a conflict there that I would not be comfortable with. I had somebody ask recently about, like, I think it was a UFC or WWE affiliate link. And I was like, yeah, there's 0 times we've taken money from a company. Anytime there's an affiliate link, which was Jimmy's previous business, that goes to a charitable cause. If the money we make on X goes to charitable causes or giveaways, and I don't feel comfortable with that because X streams WWE. If we got a paycheck from Netflix for something, that would be either donated or done in a giveaway or something like that. There's replica belts we do. There are a lot of little elements and stuff that we don't necessarily highlight and say this every week on Monday Night Raw. But there's a lot to it. And I am always open to questions. Y'all can hit my DMs because I understand there are people that have sincere concerns about this. There are people that I talk to about this very regularly about their concerns, and I completely understand it. And I get it. I certainly get it. But man, what a weekend. I'll tell you this, by the way, content. So low on content from these media events that I'm like, should I even go to Mania week?
Just send me to whatever they do in Toronto. See you there.
I'm going to be there. My travel's been booked. I probably would have booked that weekend to go to Toronto anyway, just because I wanted to get away. But man,
have you been up here when it's been like cold and snowing?
No.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Oh boy.
I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like in a month.
Experience.
Yeah, it's a different experience because I know every time you've been here, otherwise it's been spring, summer, nice weather. So it's different when you're here in March and there's snow on the ground. But hopefully you get a nice weekend. It shifts every year.
But I'm excited about that part. But I'm staying downtown in a nice hotel, not too far from the Sky Dome. So let me see. How far is Ledger Main?
Yeah, it's about it's a 10-minute walk actually, because you're closer to the arena to Scotiabank than you are to Rogers Center.
I just like that hotel. I stayed there last time. It was very nice.
Good news is,
Jeremy, it's like you're on the award show or the Christmas show. Why aren't you saying anything?
You guys are talking about Toronto plans. I'm not going to Toronto. So
well, you could. Ed's open again. I don't think you want to do this again.
No.
We saw Sammy's show. That was a good show.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know what to expect for this Elimination Chamber weekend. I mean, it'll be quick. I feel like they'll do something Friday morning and then Saturday's the show and there's no NXT on Sunday. That's at least on the docket. So who knows?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they do media for that as well. Like, I mean, even though it's a stadium show, which I will say this, the craziest media day I have ever seen was actually one where I got the most stuff, and it was the first one I ever did with in Toronto in 2019. Like, it was
McIntyre was helping you there. Steve was helping you.
Yes, that's why. That is why I got more people. And it was funny because I believe that we got approved by accident because we had a Toronto office and I had put in requests for in-person interviews, and then we got approved, and then like Becky and Big E would come through and bust the PR guy's balls, of whom I have a great relationship with now. And they're like, oh, we should have this guy around more. And it really went a long way in helping me, which I appreciated.
That's wonderful. That was at Rebel too. That was at way off on the waterfront.
So they had two of them, and it was really great. I've never seen one where they had back-to-back days of media like that. They had one in like a ballroom that had an insane number of people. Then they had another one that was way more wrestling centric, and it was out on like Polson Pier. Is that what it's called?
So Polson Pier is where Rebel is, where Impact.
Yeah, there you go. The Rebel complex. Yeah. Beautiful view, incredible view. It was just wonderful, and that was pretty cool. But I'm going to do the post Raw show tonight. Still doing it solo. Listen, you wouldn't believe the vultures while we were still on the air last week hitting me up. No disrespect to those people. It's just like nobody in particular, but there were literally 15 people who dropped me messages during that show offering to do the show with me. And I was like, guys, listen. I am not that eager to jump in and bring on a new co-host and all that stuff right now. I am still great friends with Ibu. And while mistakes were made, I believe also attempts were made in order to rectify those. And I think he will continue to make those. And I will almost certainly be working with this gentleman in the future. So,
hey, it's like I said, the statute of limitations is over, so I can put it out there. You put Ibu on the TNA post show, you bring me up to the Raw post show. Nobody knows, and everyone gets paid. Everyone's happy.
And nobody would ever know that Ibu is on that show.
That's right. That way, everyone still gets.
Except for TNA wrestlers, they watch it. I mean,
that's true. I'll start getting weird messages about that. Who's that? Who replaced you?
Somebody said, let Demon Diva co-host. Listen, I love Demon Diva. She's wonderful. I would love to have her involved with Fightful Espanol once we get that up and running, which, by the way, Spanish language speakers, Fightful Espanol Twitter. But could you imagine me reviewing a Cody or Roman segment and her being impartial? Come on now.
It sucked. Just 20 minutes of it sucked. And here's why. Yeah. And then it's a Roman Reigns rant for another 20 minutes.
She's even mad that you don't acknowledge Roman.
Yeah. Let me get the dog in here. That'll actually bring me
more. Oh my God, the dog's a star. She was telling me her dog makes more money on TikTok than her. I joke and say my cats need a job. Her dog has a job.
Good for her.
Unreal.
Monetize.
Just make Jeremy do the post show with you, buddy. I had him do SmackDown with me for quite a while. And let me tell you about the dying days of that experience.
Where's the glove, Jeremy? Where's the glove?
Jeremy doing everything he could to get me to be like, Jeremy, maybe you shouldn't do this show anymore.
I had fun with that. You told me infamously, I don't know. It's like, you're too sarcastic. You got to be more serious on this. Like, what? Yeah. I'd be more serious. I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But then, let
me tell you, I would have strangled you and Joe Holbert on that one post show if I would have seen you in person.
That was a Saudi post show. It's fine.
Yeah, that was a Saudi post show. Exactly.
No one took that seriously. It's okay.
That's why I do this show.
This is Filthy Tom as the Raw co-host. Filthy Tom is way more sarcastic than Jeremy.
Oh my God, that was the greatest interview we've done. And we had Paul London on Friday.
Yeah, Paul London almost topped Filthy Tom on Friday.
Me and Filthy Tom went shopping at a Walgreens together. Or CVS. By chance, we ran into each other, and I think we walked into a CVS together. I don't know what he was getting. I was getting a Monster Energy. I don't know what kind of topical ointments he needed, but...
Hey man, shop for what you need. It's fine.
Could you please show me the I Show Speed moment, please? The funny thing is, yeah, we can, because I've got a clip of it that I own, and I will download it and show it right now.
Let's go. Hell, you can get it from ESPN as well.
Yeah, you know what? Shout out to ESPN. Listen, an outlet of which may or may not have expressed interest in me a number of years ago, I maintain a very positive relationship with, hit me up and they're like, hey, can we use this? And I was like, yep. And they're like, what credit do you want? And then another person associated with, who is a wrestling fan, was like, hey, just wanted to double check and make sure of this. That works there, by the way. And was like, hey, do you want Fightful credited as well? And I said, yes, I would love that. So listen, if they can do it, you can do it. Aggregator accounts, fan accounts. Let's see here.
Don't bank on that.
Oh,
sadly.
Guys, this is filthy.
Can and will are two very different things.
This is disgusting. Let me see. Here we go. Like when I saw it on the broadcast, I was like, they did the stupid ass zoom, or they did the cut. Why'd they do the cut?
Yeah.
They should not have. It looked so much more vicious like that, up there with Sting and Jesus in the rafters.
I had not heard it with your audio, and that is hilarious. Your reaction.
I was so scared for that kid.
Dude, he flopped. It was fantastic. Someone told him, you know what drunk drivers do to survive? They go limp. So he's like, I gotta go limp. And that's exactly what he did. Car crash and all.
Oh my God. Like I think he turns 21 this month. And like, listen, I cannot pretend to understand what he does. And I do believe the younger generation will do anything for content, but that man will do anything for content, and I respect it.
Oh, I watch it. Got the 12 kids. One of the kids comes in, and the wife's like, I Show Speed just took like this spear. He's like, what? I Show Speed was on the show, and so showed him the video and getting killed, and he's like, oh my God, he did that. And then he's asking about Big Boom AJ. He's like, when is he coming back? Kids don't care at all about these wrestlers, but they know the TikTok guys. They know I Show Speed. Yep. They know Kai Cenat. They know all of them.
Yep. I'm aware of who they are by name. I don't know exactly what they do. I've seen the like Kai Cenat like streaming setup and stuff in the past, because like there's a lot of memes and stuff emerging from it. But especially a younger generation or older generation of wrestling fans, I think are at least way more accepting of it, because celebrity integrations are so much different than they used to be. Because one, like, there's probably more athletic celebrities available willing to do this stuff. But also, I think the Bad Bunny situation highlighted to an awful lot of people that even if you don't know who they are, a lot of other people know who they are. I did not know Bad Bunny before the WWE stuff. I Googled him. I found out who he was. That's it. And I go, well, this is big. But man, shout out to I Show Speed. That was one of the most psychotic spears I have ever seen in my life. You know how crazy you got to be to pass up Goldberg and Nunzio, like in Royal Rumble spears. Like that one was one that was an all-timer. And I think he got passed up. But guys, I will be on the post Raw show tonight. We have Fightful Select news, best $6 a month in the business. Thanks for letting me come by and hang around. Thanks for the invite, guys.
Always welcome.
You show up.
See you guys later.
We're here 5 days a week now, Sean.
That's true.
Are you?
Yeah.
Not on this channel, obviously, but yeah, 5 days a week.
No, sure. I love that. That's great. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, I think you all are the best morning show in existence. Sorry, Dave. But yeah. See you guys later.
So many tweets now. Gonna say nice red shirt.
Zeno are saying the new Raw co-host for Fightful, Jeremy's kids. Not all of them can stay up that late. They did watch the Rumble though. They're big fans of the Roman Reigns. Every time Roman comes out, Sean's gonna have the same problem with them as he would with Issa. It's like we gotta acknowledge Roman Reigns out here. So that's gonna be an issue. But they like Roman Reigns. They think Cody's a dork. And that's they like all of Roman's cousins. They're just like, oh, that's cousin. Okay, they're excited. They wondered why we were so shocked when Jey Uso won, because like when Jey Uso eliminates John Cena, I think my legit reaction was holy shit. And then that wasn't the biggest holy shit of the night for me. That happened like 2 hours later when Luka got traded. But we were like, holy shit. And then the kids are like, oh, Jeremy cursed. And then they were like, oh. And then they were like, why is this so shocking? I'm like, well, see that guy who got eliminated? That's John Cena. They know who John Cena is. That other guy, not quite as big of a star as John Cena. And it's very surprising that he actually won.
You see that other guy? Not John Cena.
They know about the Yeet though, because they know I got like the Yeet shirt and everything. So, and they like all the cousins because the wife has a giant family, so they got a bunch of cousins. So they thought Seth Rollins was a cousin because of his hair and everything. They're like, why did Roman's cousins just stomp him on the floor? I was like, well, he's not really a cousin, but like they got a long history. I'm like, oh, what's their history? I'm like, that's gonna take a lot of time, kids. All right, I don't got time to explain a decade of lore to you guys right now. I got to cover this show. So
take a look.
But they were into it. They watched the Rumble with us. They were into it. And again, one of the kids came in, and I show Speed got speared, and he was excited about that. So yeah, a lot going on in the Rumble, but they were excited to watch it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Again, really enjoyed the Rumble. We didn't touch on the women's Rumble. I immediately thought about you when Charlotte kicked Roxanne Forever.
Hell yeah! Oh, the pop in this room was unlike anything else. Charlotte Flair comes down. She's one of the last ones in there, and she gets who was the other last one? Nia.
It was Nia, Roxanne,
yeah.
and Charlotte. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and Nia eliminated Roxanne, and so Nia's on the apron there, and I'm like, oh, boot her, come on, just kick her, while she's on there, and she boots her, and I was like, yes, let's go, the queen. # bow down. Everybody ruled. Love this finish. Love Charlotte Flair winning. Haters can suck it.
So I have a question. Did commentary, because I was in and out with commentary, did they make reference to Bayley, Roxanne, and Julia having the NXT Women's Title match at Vengeance Day? Did they really talk about it at all? Because it felt like they didn't, but maybe I'm missing it.
I think it was referenced. I tune out a lot of commentary, and also, yeah, I just tune out a lot of commentary, and I'm paying attention to like work stuff, and especially if like, so I was doing surprise duty, which means like anybody who was a big surprise, I would do an article. So I was like trying to do that, but I feel like it was mentioned at least when they were all in there, and Michael Cole was like, Bayley's going to NXT. She's been at NXT and she's going to challenge for the title, and people in the chat are backing me.
Okay. Great. Okay, wonderful. I wasn't sure because, like I said, in and out with commentary, I would have been like, that's a big missed moment because all three women were in the match fairly prominently. So it would have made sense to put it out there. Something that happened early in the match, and then we'll talk about the surprises. So Ivy Nile eliminates Lyra Valkyria. Okay, that's a moment. They're trying to do the Ivy versus Lyra for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. They teased it on Monday, then they did it there. And then Maxine, who's been told she's a big old loser by Ivy Nile, eliminates Ivy Nile. And then Maxine gets eliminated almost immediately by Pure Fusion Collective. And I'm like, and then Pure Fusion Collective are eliminated immediately after that. I'm a little like annoyed that you have the Women's Intercontinental Champion, you want to build up a challenger, and you're trying to build up Ivy, and then the moment Ivy is faced with her former nemesis, quote unquote, who was never known to be a good wrestler, she's coming along, is the story with Maxine. She eliminates Ivy, and then Ivy then gets eliminated. Like, it was just really weird storytelling that got lost in the shuffle. But they're going to do Ivy and Lyra. I get it. I'm not like, this is the worst thing ever, but it was one thing I noticed was like, oh, why did they do it like that? Could have had it better paced.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say something about it.
I don't have a response. No, like the moment with Maxine was cool. Yeah, they set up Ivy and Lyra, and I didn't think much of Maxine eliminating Ivy right after that. Like the moment was because she got attacked by everybody, and then the baby faces made the save and everything, and then Maxine got her moment and then eliminated Ivy. I forgot Maxine eliminated Ivy. I remember Ivy eliminating Lyra and Maxine doing the worm to Ivy, or the caterpillar, whatever, the backwards butterfly. And then she eliminated Ivy, and then Maxine got tossed. I forgot who actually did the eliminating there. I just remember the caterpillar. That was the moment. That's
Fair.
all you're supposed to remember.
That's true.
And
It's all
then-
about the moments. It's fine.
Yeah, it's about the moment. Who cares about eliminations?
One missed moment that I really wish we had seen. Lash Legend was in the match. Charlotte Flair was in the match. I really want to see those two interact. They're very similar in build. They're both very tall women. They both use the big boot, which would have been hilarious to watch them both boot each other in the face. But I thought that I hope we get there. I think Lash had a really good showing as well. Again, all the NXT women who showed up had a very good showing, and Jordan Grace made her WWE debut officially as a contracted.
Just her mom sitting there
all
with
alone.
the birthday cake, just alone, 50th birthday, got the candles, and she's like, "Why? Where's my daughter? Why did my daughter not show up to my birthday?"
Happy birthday, poor neglected mommy.
Gresham's there trying to console Mama Grace. Guys, she said she was going to be here. I don't know what happened. Finds out she's in the Rumble.
Come on, Mom. Let's go turn on the Rumble and maybe we'll see something fun happen. Do you think Jordan's there? She's supposed to be here. Did they reroute her flight? Maybe. I don't know. Let's go check it out. Grace looked good.
Jordan trying to work people into thinking that she wasn't going to be there.
Second year in a row where she tries that, and everyone's like, "Come on, Jordan, you're not a good liar. Can't pull the wool over my eyes."
AJ Francis was just like, "I don't believe you."
God bless AJ Francis, dude rules. And Alexa Bliss comes back. The big news, of course, we talked about it earlier with Sean. They loved it. She came back with Lily, the new and improved Lily doll, and I cackled. I was like, "Lily's back! They're gonna sell that shit out so fast." I will say this, by the way, I really, really, really love that she comes out with the Fiend Forever jacket. She didn't get a chance to say goodbye officially on WWE programming when Bray passed away. She was still pregnant, as far as I can remember, and couldn't travel or wouldn't travel. Well, there was basically just travel wasn't happening for her at the time. So I really like it. Was a little bit of an emotional moment for her to come back, be able to do that, show off the Fiend Forever that's at Friends Forever. It was a really nice tribute to Bray Wyatt. Sorry, I was trying to remember Bray's real name. Wyndham Rotunda. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, a lot of names in my head. So yeah, that was great. And then she didn't have to last very long. Like Sean said, it was a plug and play, and she came in. She had her moments. People were all about having her back. She got a new deal allegedly, so good for her. She's here.
They should have called an audible and just had Alexa win. The more I heard that pop, I heard that pop, and she's got the good music. It's a good song. But I was like, oh man, you got to call an audible on this thing. Have Alexa go over. Have her point to the sign. You have to. Well, they didn't. I understand.
She'll be in the chamber. She'll be in the chamber match.
Yeah. Good that Alexa's back. She's one of their best television performers, especially on the microphone. And a lot of people she hasn't really worked with, or at least this version she hasn't worked with, whether it's her version, her character, or somebody like Bailey. She hasn't really worked with like this version of Bailey. The new people on the main roster, obviously Jordan's there. This version of Rhea, like she has not worked with these people because she's been gone for 2 years. Last appearance was Rumble 2023. She's been on television for 2 years. So a lot has changed in those 2 years. But she's a big time player for them. And where she kind of fits in with everything now, we shall see.
Yeah, that is where she's got to merge into traffic. So it's going to be fun to see where that happens. Trish Stratus comes out number 25. This was cute because it's her 25th anniversary from WWE. Like, from what I'm trying to say. She debuted in 2000. This was her 25th anniversary in wrestling. Too bad Zoe Stark was out of the match 30 minutes earlier. Would have been fun to watch those two. Charlotte's theme, it remains. The Dragula theme is still there. If you haven't seen it, I have a mashup of Charlotte's theme with the lyrics to Dragula. It fits perfectly. It's just a mashup. Go check that out. And of course, Nikki Sawa at number 30. I know you were happy about that.
Yeah, I was excited for Nikki to be back. Sounds like she's gonna be back for a extended run here, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to her. Nia eliminating a bunch of people, and Raquel looked like she wasn't supposed to go out at that point. It was very awkward. She did that big elimination spot where she got rid of like 6 to 8 people.
She set the record for eliminations. She had 9, and Roxanne set the record for longest time in the Rumble. So good on them.
Yep. So Charlotte wins the Royal Rumble, entered in at number 27. Good for her. No Becky Lynch, no TNA, as we talked about earlier. Not that they were really expected, but a lot of people were expecting Becky Lynch. Of course, we'd reported that she wasn't factored in at that point or in town. I believe in town. Regardless, she wasn't factored in. Becky Lynch, not at the Rumble, definitely had some people thinking, what's her WrestleMania road? Does she do anything? Where does Becky factor in, if at all? Or does she come back after WrestleMania to have a bigger, spring into the summertime?
I would understand if they held Becky until after WrestleMania. She's a Raw after Mania return. Because they already got a lot of people who they got to give spots to. Charlotte's going to get the big spot with Tiffany, it would seem. So you're not going to run Rhea and Becky again, I wouldn't think. I know the talk was Rhea and Bianca. So then what else is there? You're probably doing a multi-woman match for one of the titles, whether that's the Intercontinental or the US. So yeah, where does Becky fit? I mean, she can enter into a feud with Alexa. There's probably something there. She could do a one-on-one match against Roxanne. There could be something there. She could do a match with Jordan. Like there's opportunities to do something with Becky for a singles match. They don't typically do too many singles matches that aren't for the title with the women. They'll do like a multi-woman match, or they'll do, the tag team gimmick. Those belts still exist. So we'll see when it comes to Becky. It wouldn't shock me if she was held off until after WrestleMania though.
Fuck it. Put her into a ladder match for the Intercontinental Women's Championship. She's the 6th entrant. No one saw it coming, and here we are.
It could happen. Like that thought crossed my mind if she might be in the multi-woman ladder match as a possibility. I would get behind a Becky and Nikki like singles match. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
What's the story in that? Like what would be the story there?
With
doing Becky and Nikki, like how would you get there is my question.
The story is they both fucking rule, so here's an awesome match.
You're a mother, I'm a mother. We'll take our kids, we'll suspend them above the ring. Winner gets custody of both.
The story, honestly,
winner gets the bus.
The story could be as simple as just 2 generations of evolution. And I know they kind of did similar stuff with like Charlotte and Trish, but Trish was sort of the era, like Nikki's the era between sort of Charlotte and Trish. Nikki was sort of that middle bridge there. So it could be Nikki and Becky. It could be as simple as that. It could be something that's like, people looked at me. I know you maybe want to do face heel stuff, but when it comes to WrestleMania and when it comes to Legends, they don't fully go with the face heel stuff. They just sort of do do cool matches for the sake of doing cool matches. But it could just be, people looked at me and didn't think I was supposed to. They looked at me as a diva. They thought I was a reality star. And look, I was the longest reigning champion in history until the record got broken. I'm pretty sure it got broken. Anyway, people looked at you and everyone put Charlotte on the pedestal above you. And look what you had to do. Like, let's see who's better between us. It's not the media story in the world, but if you're looking for something, and you could take different ways to get there, it could add to it, but as a starting point, it could be just simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. A couple super chats before we move on. Wilchism saying AJ got his old theme and his old body. Oh no.
Oh, he was so happy to get that. They don't want none. Because imagine if he came out with that shitty new theme, people would have been so confused.
Buddy, what they did to Finn Balor, having him come out with that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I listened. I was so upset. I didn't even care if they'd given him the old theme or the Judgment Day heel theme would have been fine, but that Judgment Day theme is so awful. I've never said bring back Alter Bridge faster in my life. That was the moment. It's an awful theme. Anyway, sorry, moving on. Will Chisholm also says, as a Penta fan, I'm shocked and happy that he's this over this quick. I'm not shocked. I think that they brought him in with enough fanfare and enough energy, and he gets over given his ability and the look. Like, people see this dude and you get it. Like, you know what's happening. And people know the Sejo Miedo. Like, it's cool.
You know what I was kind of surprised by is like how much just media he's doing. And I kind of tweeted this out. Like, I don't know if this was his call or if this was an AEW call. So I'm not going to pretend like, oh, how come AEW didn't have this guy doing a bunch of media? For all I know, he didn't want to do media for AEW. And for all I know, he didn't want to do a ton of media for WWE, but they're like, hey, you're going to go out there and you're going to do media. But he seems to enjoy doing it. So whether it's, fully his call or not, he definitely seems to enjoy being out there and interacting and talking to different people. But yeah, he was on the posters, and then he was, he did the media rounds, the car wash thing where he talked to everybody, and he did a couple of interviews. I know he was on like Busted Open and everything, but like he hadn't been in the company for a month, and he's already doing like a bunch of media for them. It's like, good on him. They should put him out there. They should have him doing this stuff. And maybe he is like, hey, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do to help boost my profile in the company. Again, I've always said people should want to do as much media as possible because it helps you in so many ways.
I also noticed he didn't speak Spanish unless he was interviewed by a Spanish-speaking publication. And even when someone was a Spanish interviewer, like, he did English. He did his interviews in English, which, again, if that's something he wants to work on, great. And yeah, he was everywhere. Saw him giving a ton of interviews, looking good. And that blue costume he wore, his blue gear, was really nice. I hope he never brings out the Joker gear. That's all I got to say about that. Because that's
him and Ray are gonna have the Joker off. Is what's gonna happen.
I think they'll do a Joker off, or they're gonna do a tag team with the Joker gear.
Yeah, they could do that, but yeah, it might be a mirror match. Two Jokers. They try to give each other like the permanent scars.
As if there's one thing wrestling needs, it's more knives.
And Ray's already lost an eye. So now he's gonna get like permanent scars.
Yeah, exactly. And Will Chisholm also sent a super chat. Love how Bianca got mad at Naomi for hugging Jordynne Grace. It's not like Bianca. That was a really good beat that they had. Naomi giving Jordynne Grace a hug. First time they've seen each other since last year's Royal Rumble, allegedly. So that was nice. And then Bianca getting upset because they were in this together, Naomi and Bianca, as the tag champs. So Jordynne coming in is like, hey, what are you doing? She got a little jealous. Maybe gives credence to your Bianca Belair is going to turn heel soon.
No Jade Cargill.
I
don't know if they got a plan there. Doesn't seem like they got a plan there.
Oh, and someone else, by the way, pointing out, Brendan saying, when hearing Penta speak English, it made me so confused why AEW felt he needed someone to speak for him. I think that's really, again, a good point. I'm not going to make this an AEW versus WWE thing, but it is worth noting that like he is really going out there and doing those interviews in English when he can. And I think that's great. And he's cutting promos in English too. He knows how to get over.
Yeah.
There was the tag match in the Rumble. I don't really have anything to add other than the confusion at the end that Michael Cole had to clean up as to why the Street Profits took out both DIY and Motor City Machine Guns was a little... I don't like having to explain the reasoning when your crowd is confused.
Well, his dorks should watch the show. I understood it.
Yes, but the point was, why did the Street Profits take out Motor City Machine Guns first and then take out DIY when it wasn't a heel turn? They had to explain why it wasn't a heel turn. That was the weird part.
No. All right. I got it. Like, it was going to be, they wanted to beat DIY for the titles. I completely understood it.
Yeah, you know. But
watch the show, dorks.
No, you're asking too much of people.
Watch the
AEW Collision. We can spend about 5
minutes. Real quickly.
Sure.
I know Sean mentioned the press conference and everything, and the amended lawsuit with Janel Grant. I'll be transparent with everybody. I was disappointed that nobody asked about it in the press conference. Not surprising because nothing really surprises me with these things. I did ask. Adam Barnard's been on our show before. He's a pal. I asked him if he wanted to come on the show today. He said he would get back to me. He did not get back to me. throwing him under the bus here, but hopefully we'll have him. Hopefully we'll have him on in the coming week, because he did ask one of the questions. He asked, about celebrity involvement and streamer involvement. Adam was there representing Screen Rant. Screen Rant that's the type of content that they are looking for. Screen Rant's not trying to cover a lawsuit. So Adam was asking a question. This is my interpretation of things. I don't want to defend him on this. He can do that himself. I am, as we've said many times, different people are there to ask different questions, representing different outlets, looking for the type of content that their outlet would want. Screen Rant wants content about, hey, engagement and crossover. They aren't too concerned about the lawsuit. Should they be? Yeah, probably. But that's just not what their outlet does. So that is my understanding of why Adam asked the question he did. But I did ask Adam to come on the show. We'll see if he comes on later on this week, and I'll ask him myself of like, hey, why was this question asked? Everybody else, Emily she's been on the show as well. She's a pal. Like, she has different motives and things that she would want to ask for her outlet. And the other questions were Us Weekly. Us Weekly isn't, they're not going to cover that stuff. Again, should they? Yeah. And then a local indie, Indianapolis.
I was going to say, I don't think there was an indie wrestling company asking these questions.
Yeah. And then it was a local Indianapolis newspaper asking about being in Indianapolis. So that made sense. So I think that was the reasoning for why the people asked the questions that they asked. Joel mentioned that they sort of screened questions ahead of time.
Yeah, the idea was that so for those who have seen the press conferences, or now they call them the post shows, instead of having the wrestlers kind of come in, come out immediately, they're doing throws to the panel. And because of that, you have some downtime in between. So during that downtime, they're saying, okay, next up is so-and-so. Who's got a question for so-and-so? So when they get to Paul, they're like, okay, Paul's the last one up. Anyone have a question for Paul? People will raise their hand. And at that point, PR is they're around the room. They're roving. There's a producer who's handing out the microphone, and there's PR. It's not PR necessarily asking people, what do you want to ask? But they're kind of getting a gauge of okay, what, just so we have it in advance, what kind of question are you going to ask, or what are you doing? And it felt like nobody asked or was going to ask about the lawsuit. However, they weren't actively telling people not to. They were more telling people, or more asking people, what are you going to ask? Could you call that an intimidation tactic for some people? Yes. But I'm not going to speak for how people in the room feel when they're given the opportunity to ask a question and they're asked, again, it's your level of comfort in there. Someone in the chat had mentioned just because someone understands something doesn't mean everyone else does. So there is a level of comfort there that some people feel awkward trying to speak on something that maybe they don't have all the details about, and they're trying to just do their side of things. Sean and I once had a long conversation, and he's mentioned it in other streams, about if someone wants to cover wrestlers who like donuts. I know that's like a 3-hour CM Punk conversation, but if the idea is that this is a coverage of wrestlers and donuts, and that's your lane, and you stay in your lane, then that's your assignment. If Sean sends me to a press conference and says, I need you to ask about the lawsuit, I am going to spend as much time as I can poning up about the lawsuit and about what my questions could be as a result of that. You go where your assignment takes you. And people who are asking about wasted questions, you ask the question. We've done this conversation a billion times, Jeremy. You always ask the questions. Just because you think what you're going to get is the answer that they're going to give doesn't mean it's the answer you're going to get or the answer they're going to give. You still ask the questions because it shows that it is at the forefront of the mind of whatever publication you work for and the mindset of the people that read and support your publication. It's important to put it out there. I was going to say, Paul can go off there and play dumb and say, I haven't read the lawsuit. Then that reflects poorly on him. You do not know what the answer is. You just ask the question.
You don't. And maybe the answer will be, that's a legal matter. We can't comment on it. Okay, fine. That's the answer. Last year, they asked the question, and we got a pretty telling answer of Triple H saying, don't know, haven't read it. I want to focus on this. That was the answer he gave. He could have given legal matter, can't comment on it, but he gave a different answer that didn't make him look great, in my opinion. He is named in this latest amendment. He's there. You can Control F Paul Levesque, and he is there. people who still work for the company, Nick Khan, Michael Hayes, are outright named in the latest amendment. It's a question worth asking, but it wasn't asked.
Yep. Is there anything else in the press conference that you wanted to touch on?
The press conference was pretty paint by numbers. Charlotte gave some good answers. Cody wasn't there. They fell in injuries. Who else? Jey was not 5 mana shots deep, which is unfortunate. I was hoping for him to be on some libations.
He needed some neatly. He drinks that. Damn it.
The attendance gimmick was very funny. Triple H is saying 70,000. It said 65 on there. I was like, somebody, am I mishearing things? It was pretty late. I'm like,
was it you with the mana?
He said something else. I was like, what is happening here? Oh yeah, very funny.
That was good stuff. Yeah, that was a moment. But yeah, that was the presser.
Yes, I should clarify. Triple H is referenced in the location of his office. He's not named as far as allegations against him or anything like that, but his name is in the amended lawsuit that his office was next to where they had the office for Janel Grant. So that is how Triple H is referenced. But again, he is still named. So it would have been, to me, it would have been a fair point to bring it up anyway, because WWE as an entity is named in the lawsuit. So I think it would have been pretty fair to bring it up when he is referenced in having an office next to Janel Grant. You could have brought that up. And again, Michael Hayes, who works as a producer, was also named in, she was asked to send explicit content to Michael Hayes and his team. Nick Khan, also named, like outright, no corporate officer number 1 type of thing. So it would have been fair game to bring it up. He may have said, can't talk about it, legal matter. Okay, but you don't know that for certain, because you probably would have thought that last year when the lawsuit had just dropped and they asked at the Royal Rumble, and instead of saying legal matter, can't talk about it, Triple H said, I haven't read it. Let's focus on the good vibes that we had at the Royal Rumble.
What's up, legend? But also I want to point out that the question is equally important as to how you frame it. Let's not forget, shout out to Cam Hawkins last year when presented with the opportunity to ask a question when this lawsuit had just dropped. Yes, some people asked about, how do you feel about, whereas Cam was more about, has there been any attempt to make the locker room feel safe, regardless, like, I'm not going to pull up the exact wording, but his framing was more about the locker room stance on feeling safe currently, given what had just come down. So the way you frame it can always affect the way that your question is answered. And it's not always, how do you feel about being named in this lawsuit? Like, your feelings are not as important right now. It's more about getting the facts or the understanding of why your name might be implicated or involved in this lawsuit. There are ways to ask the question, and that's why we sit in the room trying to formulate the best possible questions to get the best possible answers. It's not sorry, I was going to say waterboarding. It's not that. But it's not an inquisition. It's not. It is a press conference. We're aware of what answers we can or cannot get, and as a result, we work around getting the best possible answer to those questions. And notice that Paul Levesque never, or very rarely, answered, it's a legal issue, we're not talking about it. He'll talk around it. He doesn't just shoot it down. That's the other thing with Paul. Sometimes he loves to hear his own voice. So.
His answer with the Hall of Fame thing was so long. It's like, oh my God, dude. I get it.
What's funny is I think we're all wrong as to who's going to induct him. I think Paul Levesque is going to induct Triple H into the Hall of Fame
himself.
Yeah, or
be a great bit. I would actually respect that if he did.
That would be a funny bit. Or Stephanie's going to do it.
Stephanie,
your husband.
Nah, I think it actually be a great bit if it is like Paul Levesque and he's he's up there with the suit and he's talking about the great career that Triple H had, and then he like walks to the back. And then the King of Kings, he's got the jacket,
and he's put on a long hair bald cap, not a bald cap, but a wig.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great bit. I would, you know what? I'd have to applaud that. Like, all right, I respect this.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, Shane McMahon inducts him. That's a 45-minute induction for a 50-minute conversation. It's not worth it. Anyway, is there anything else from Rumble before we move over to Collision for 5 minutes?
I don't think so. It was a good Rumble overall. It was a little long. I thought it's like, because I don't think I got done until like midnight, so it felt long.
The Rumble work with
Yeah.
the presser involved as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I was done by 12 by 10:30. I don't know about you.
Nah.
I
I also covered Collision, so I was covering like 2 shows at once, and the press conference felt a little bit longer. And I was ready to go to sleep, and then Luka Doncic has to get traded. I'm like, well, not going to sleep now. So I was up way later than I intended to.
That's fine. Listen, as we're transitioning to AEW, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, get your super chats in as we start to wrap up and wind down. A couple things from Collision. One, Harley Cameron, once again.
Big dubs! Harley Cameron!
Big dub. Beats former Reina de Reinas champion, former Impact Knockouts women's champion, former, I don't know, she's had a bunch of stuff. Ty Valkyrie. She got beat on a roll-up by Harley Cameron. And that's not even the best part. Harley Cameron made a dummy of Mercedes Moné. That shit ruled, and I just love. She does the whole thing with Harley doing the, she just does the talk, and then Mercedes walks in, which was shocking because I know it's Collision, and it's not an important show according to some people. But Mercedes comes in.
Taped at Dynamite. She wrestled on Dynamite.
It was a joke. It was a joke about Saturday night being the show. Saturday night's all right for fighting. So Mercedes comes in and at the end of it, just like, nice doll, by the way. She was so enamored with the stupid doll. That's how the match should end. The doll should pin Harley Cameron, not Mercedes. It should be the doll.
Wait, the doll pins Harley Cameron? Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's how the match should end if they do it at Grand Slam Australia. This was good stuff, though. Good for her.
Harley Cameron just won the title. Let her beat Deanna on Dynamite. Sorry, Deanna. And then she wins the title. That's where I'm at.
Starting to think maybe Harley Cameron should beat Jon Moxley for the world title.
I would love that. Are you kidding me?
She ends the Death Riders, and the era of the silly AEW begins. Nothing is serious. It is now the silliest, most unserious professional wrestling company ever.
Harley Cameron just getting like a 2-hour show. She does singing. She does some ventriloquism. She'll do a wrestling match. I assume she can do magic tricks. I don't know why I assume that, but Harley Cameron's like super talented, so I'm just gonna assume she can do magic tricks. What else? What's gonna she do lion tame? She can be a lion tamer. Like just Harley Cameron 2-hour variety hour. That's what I need.
Yeah, I'm into that. Yeah, people need to be asking the real question: Mercedes doll versus Lily. Who would win in that match?
Ooh,
and who
Lily's
would
like possessed?
Well, allegedly.
I feel like Lily's got the advantage here.
Chat, want to hear?
Mercedes doesn't take any losses, so I assume her doll doesn't either.
See, so it's going to be a double DQ finish. Chat, I want to know. Put it in the chat or put it in
time
the
limit draw.
Time limit draw. People say Mercedes. Come on. You never know. It's just you got both dolls have very strong backgrounds. You just don't know. So I'm looking forward to Harley Cameron's story. It's been a good start. And the Tony Storm stuff. What did you think of this promo on Mariah May? No theme music, no big fanfare, just lights go up. She gives a soliloquy. This was the most soliloquy of all soliloquies ever given. And she essentially just says, I'm going to beat your ass. You don't think I'm real? It doesn't get much realer than me. I'm timeless Tony Storm, and your time is over. What do you think of this promo? What's your thoughts?
The performances are good. This was a good performance by Tony Storm. I think that it adds to the upcoming match. But did they do it too soon? That's where I'm still at. Like, did they do it too soon? Because Mariah was so dismissive on Dynamite. And maybe that's part of the story, is that she's too dismissive of this version of Tony Storm. Because this version of Tony Storm might be a little bit crazier than the old version of Tony Storm. And maybe that's what they're trying to get across. And I think if that's what they're trying to get across, then it worked. She talked about, I rebuilt myself from the ground up. I went crazy after losing, went to Canada, or not Canada, went to Mexico, went to Japan, and I just started from the bottom and I rebuilt myself. I know I wasn't going to do that. I rebuilt myself. And when I looked you in the eye, I saw what I needed to see, and I'm ready to take you down because you are a sham. A Travis Shamockery is what you are. Bitch.
Yeah, you got to add that Okada over here. So I watched it and I was like, yes, like you said, great performance. It's good stuff. But I am wondering, how do you keep this going given where it is? Like, could you have Tony wins the next match, wins this match in Australia and then wins again at Revolution? Really, again, it really feels like they're going to turn around and do this match again. I do appreciate this is slow, again, another silly, like, if this is the way TK is thinking about it, then I can get it. Collision being the place where they promote this entire match, Tony Storm and Mariah May, or at least being where the beats happen. Collision Grand Slam is basically a Collision show. So you're basically playing it off there. And then they'll just do another. Yeah, I feel like they'll just do it again at Revolution. And maybe that's Tony Storm having won it. It's her big first defense and she's defending against the former champion. I don't know. But it feels like something's got to happen. And then they did the Queen Aminata announcement that she's going to face Tony Storm on Wednesday. And Aminata was basically trying to like shoehorn her way into the match that that Tony's having with Mariah. And that felt a little awkward, but I get it because like Queen Aminata should want to be in the women's world title picture, but it's Tony Storm right now. And like, if like she's going to win, it's almost very obvious. I'm a little confused as to what they expect this to turn into and what's going to come out of Grand Slam Australia.
Yeah. I assume Tony's going to beat Hamanata on Wednesday. I don't feel like I'm going out too much on a limb there.
My God. Hot take. It's not Tuesday, Jeremy. What are we doing?
And then whether she has a stare down with Mariah afterwards, Mariah attacks her afterwards, or Tony. It feels like Tony needs to get it up here because I know the big reveal seemingly was up, but she got beat down before that segment. So it feels like there needs to be a little bit of fear in Mariah. And maybe Mariah is acting and that she's not afraid when truthfully she is. Because Renee tried to say that at the top of the rant promo of like, you looked a little shook. And then Mariah confidently said, I've beaten her. Like, yeah, I'm not scared of her. So I do think there needs to be just a difference of this is not quite the same Tony Storm that you faced a few weeks ago. And I think they've done that it's not the same Tony Storm because look what all she went through to be this Tony Storm. This is an even crazier version of timeless Tony Storm. I need to hit that beat just a little bit more ahead of Grand Slam.
Anything else that you really want to point out from this? Because that was really all I had to say was those two segments. You had the main event. You had the Mid-South Street fight, and Wheeler, you lost. And then Switchblade and Cope came out afterwards. I'm now a little bit closer to thinking this is an 8-man tag at Grand Slam Australia.
I was about to say they're not. I don't think they're doing a singles match at this point. Cope did the challenge for Revolution
because there isn't a show in Australia in 2 weeks. Yeah, that's right. 5 minutes. That's what you get, AEW. Put on a better show against the Royal Rumble. No, it's fine. I'm sure that when we get to, if not Grand Slam, definitely Revolution, we'll be spending a lot more time talking about what AEW is putting out. So there was some good stuff. This was a very wrestling centric show.
Bandito's back. No love for Bandito. Roosh is back. No love for Roosh.
With Mess with they both, you get their horns. Like, what do you want me to tell you?
It rules.
and you've got like I get the idea with Bandito coming back. They basically just replayed the initial return, right? When he came back at Final Battle, and then he unfortunately came down with a concussion. It's good that he's back. I hope that he now plays into this, but I don't know where. Is he going to go after the learning tree and then Powerhouse Hobbs is out again? Is like this is the issue that I'm taking with like Bandito comes back. Whatever they were doing with Powerhouse Hobbs seems to then go by the wayside. So I'm curious as to what they expect out of all of this.
Bandito, new ROH champion.
Hobbs should win the ROH title at Revolution.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
And then Bandito can win it at the ROH show a few months later. I don't know which one.
Okay. All right.
Again, I don't know if they want to have Bandito as a Ring of Honor performer. I know he came back at Final Battle, so it's entirely probable that they want him on Ring of Honor. But I don't know. They also ran a bunch of promotional material for Bandito on AEW programming before bringing him back at Final Battle. So like, I don't know what their expectation is. Hologram is also another one. Did he lose his magic or is his magic back? I'm confused. You saw that?
What do you mean? Is it? Yeah.
He's walking down the street and he looks at his hands and his hands start glowing and then they stop and then he looks at the camera. Is he upset? I don't know. Is he what's going on? Is he? There's no fireball.
I thought he was about to like throw it. I thought he was about to like go gambit on dudes on the street. Just like what?
Come on, I was told there was supposed to be a bunch of like hologram stuff.
Yeah, I want him to be like this superhuman type of dude. I think that rules. I don't wrestling. Who cares about that? Let him come in there and like shoot fireballs and shit at people.
That's right. Give Jerry Lawler a run for his money.
Hologram.
I'm not hating on hologram. I just want to. I want to see him do stuff.
No hologram slander on this show.
This was not hologram slander. I'm just wondering what.
No hologram slander, folks.
No hollow slander. No slandergram.
Will not happen.
Is there anything else from the show?
Any hologram slander.
That's all I got for Dynamite. Or sorry, for Collision.
Wow, can't even get the name of the show right. You hate AEW so much.
I know, right? Tell them all. I got plenty of reasons to take issue with AEW, but it's not because of the names of their shows. Just wait until I tell you off air what happened next. Woo! Woo! Oh boy. All right. Anything else to plug? We're back tomorrow. I'm not, but
the Cope promo wasn't interesting. It wasn't interesting.
What was it? I don't get what we're doing here. That was the Cope promo. Like, what are you telling me was interesting? He literally opened up with, I don't know why we're here, but here we are. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh man. People really thought that this was going to be a nothing thing when Cope returned. People were trying to tell me, oh, it's still about the young talent. People use the word detour. So this is a detour for Jon Moxley. This dude is parked. He went to the Cope building and parked outside, knocked on the door, and is now in the house. There's no detour. This was the destination, folks.
Tired.
Can't pretend to care. Sorry, Cope.
Just tired. Anyway, is there anything else? Anything you need to plug?
Raw tonight. We're not going to preview Raw.
Jey Uso, winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, scheduled to appear. Charlotte Flair, winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, scheduled to appear. Elimination Chamber qualifying matches begin. Which ones are they? We don't know. They haven't been announced officially. Are we good?
Yeah.
Oh, and the WWE Evolve is coming to Tubi in March. Have fun.
Tubi on a Wednesday night, competing against Dynamite.
That's right. No lawsuits for us. We're working with Tubi now. Will Chisholm saying I'd have drunk rock beat Mox for the title. Jesus Christ. Just gonna barge into Revolution on his big old truck.
Darby tried to car crash them, and you know what happened there. So
yep, that's it. Joel hates Royal Rumble winners. I like one of them. Actually, I like both of them. Oh my God.
I was like, what do you have beef with?
That's true.
Who do you hate here? Charlotte or Jey Uso? They both rule.
Well, pick your poison. Whoever the chat hates, that's who I'm going to hate too. Still haven't figured out if Lily beats Mercedes or Mercedes beats Lily in the match. The dolls.
It's a time limit draw. We've determined this. Yeah, it's a draw.
It's going to be fun tonight. Go watch Raw or don't. I don't care. This show is now 5 days a week. What does that mean? I'm not doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. SP3 jumps on board officially starting tomorrow to join Jeremy Lambert on Tuesdays and Thursdays, as I said, to do this show. 2 hours of God knows what. What does that mean for me? This means that I don't get to talk about anything that happened on Monday. And I also don't get to talk about anything that happens on Wednesday. So now I'm completely on an island. Friday show, TNA talk. That's all it's going to be. Have fun. Good luck.
People love when you bury AEW, so it's still gonna be Friday's still gonna be Joel hates AEW.
Put on a show that I like. We'll be fine. No. I've done this multiple times.
Hater.
Oh God. We're back on Overbook. That is our channel that we are based on. Fightful Overbook. Go there right now and subscribe to the channel. Leave a thumbs up on your way out. And of course, subscribe to Fightful, the main channel, as we are here every top of the month, Monday as it were, to discuss wrestling. Now I'm going to have to start talking about TNA and NXT on Wednesdays and Fridays.
I love NXT. So
High
much
school.
stuff happens on that show.
It's high school, baby. It's rules. Let's go check that out. We're going to talk about
Not all of it's good, mind you, but like a lot happens.
It's true. It's going to be, this is fun to talk about. All right. For Jeremy Lambert, I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL, or thejoelpearl.com on Blue Sky. Yes, it's a mouthful, but that's where I'm at. Ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.